I forgot to change my shirt. I'm wearing my paint shirt right now. So if you guys are wondering why I have like stuff all over my shirt, this is a shirt that I normally wear when I paint. We are doing day 7 of the Lori Vallow trial today. And, you know, the state, they might rest their case today. And then it's possible that Lori might start calling up her witnesses to testify. Although yesterday, when we last checked in with her, it seems like she had issues serving as subpoenas to 3 of her witnesses. I have no idea who's on her witness list, but I'm hoping that Lori Vallow is going to be testifying. Now, today we're going to hear from Nathan Duncan, who works for the Chandler Police Department. And Nathan Duncan was actually supposed to testify yesterday, but he wasn't feeling well. So he's testifying today. And I hope he feels better because I can't imagine testifying on the stand while you're feeling like sick or like sick or stuffy, or I don't know. But apparently the judge made a comment to the witness today, was like, oh, so you're going to testify today. Okay, well, if you throw up, make sure you don't projectile vomit my direction. Just like as a little joke. Hey, what's up, Carolyn? Hi, Nick. How are you doing today? Hello, hello. So Nathan Duncan is going to expose Lori through her text messages with her brother, Alex Cox. And again, they're going to talk about who this Ned figure is. Remember, Ned is a dark, evil spirit that was apparently inhabiting Charles Vallow's body. Charles Vallow is a victim, the deceased. And, you know, I'm sure the jury is probably thinking, what the hell? What kind of damn trial is this? Talking about evil spirits and all that stuff. And then afterwards, they are going to go into the affair, it seems like, between Lori and Chad Daybell, some of the emails. And I have some observations from the jury, from people that are in the courtroom that are tweeting. So we'll definitely pull that up and you guys can see, you know, what the jury's probably maybe thinking. Or if they're just like, what the hell are we doing here? Hi, lady. How are you doing today? Hey, artist. Hello, hello. How's it going? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to hop on in. And then we're going to be catching up. The court is currently on, well, for us, they're on lunch break, but they just got back in court session. And again, remember, the live streams are 30 minutes delayed. That's how the judge wants it, which I don't mind. I kind of like having that. So it's kind of interesting. It's better than having the court footage come out at the end of the day, because I remember there was another trial where like the footage would come out after the day ended. And it's like, okay, well, you have like hours and hours to catch up and everything. And that was kind of a shit show. Hi, Reese. Hello, hello. Isn't it funny that Lori got mad about her soon-to-be ex-husband for dating around when she was the one that had the affair that destroyed their marriage? Yep, those cross-examinations was kind of awkward when she would bring up other women that Charles Vallow was dating. I don't know, yesterday's cross-examination when she was getting to Charles Vallow's calendar and how Charles may have sent like $1,000 to someone. I don't rough. CJ. Oh my gosh, CJ, thank you so much for the subscription. 73 months. Thank you. Thank you. How are you? Hello, hello. 56 months in a row. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, CJ. I hope you've been well. All right, y'all, let's jump into this. So this is Nathan Duncan. He's been with Chandler PD for about 25 years. And again, he wasn't feeling well yesterday. I think Nathan has a text about the exchange between him and the judge, maybe. Back in the courthouse, waiting for the courtroom to open, just saw Chandler Detective Nathan Duncan walk in with prosecutor Trina Kay. Duncan was sick yesterday, so Duncan's the reason why we got to end the stream early yesterday. Yay! And could not testify. Looks like he will take the stand today. We're in the courtroom. Lori Vallow just walked in wearing lilac blouse under her black pantsuit. I overheard a lady in the gallery say she looks a lot better in person than on live stream. Judge says jokingly, said to Detective Duncan, "You're not going to throw up on the witness stand? If so, don't go my direction." Jurors are brought in and Duncan is called out to the stand. So let's listen to Detective Duncan's testimony. I think we're going to start with some of the text messages, the emails, and basically at this point, Detective Duncan talks about how he went to the crime scene. He did his observations. He did not attend the autopsy, but he did say that, remember the possibly second shot that Charles Vallow may have gotten. It seems like the evidence shows that Charles Vallow was shot on the ground. There's a dent on the floor that shows that the bullet, basically went through Charles's body and then made a dent. And so it would show that Charles Vallow was essentially shot when he was on the ground. So it wouldn't technically really be self-defense if someone's on the ground and they'd already been shot once. Oh man, oh boy. And then was there something else I wanted to say? I don't know what I wanted to say. Oh, he did say that he did not search Lori Vallow's rental. Well, sorry, it wasn't even Lori Vallow's rental car. It was Charles Vallow's rental car that Lori was driving around that day. So they did not search the rental car, which I thought was interesting because I don't know. I feel like Wouldn't you want to? But maybe they think it was important. All right, let's jump in. I'm gonna boost up the audio. Oh, it's already boosted. Yay! Thank you for covering this trial. Thanks for popping in, guys. I appreciate you guys being here.
When you were reviewing the text messages or SMS messages for July 11th of 2019, do phones and the extractions advise when a message is received as well as when it's read?
It would show that, yes, in the sell-by report. Yes.
Okay. So, for instance, we see here a time and a read, correct?
Correct.
So when a message is incoming, it'll show when it's read.
Correct.
Obviously, when it's outgoing, we don't have that, correct? So as you were looking at those messages on the cell phone extraction, did you see as Charles is arriving, he's sending messages to Adam?
Yes, that's correct.
And then he receives a message from Adam at 7:36:19?
Yes.
And he read that. I'm going to pull in just a little closer so we can see. At 7:36:27?
Yes.
So just a few seconds later.
Correct.
And then again, he gets that message from Adam. They're planning something. And did he, again, read that like simultaneously?
Yes.
So Adam sends a text message to Charles saying they're planning something. So the reason why I repeat myself on these streams is because sometimes people pop in or they haven't watched like the entirety of the trial. So I try to kind of like loop everyone in as I can. And so for some of you guys who've been here for the entire through, it might be a little redundant for you guys. So, but I do want to mention this, that Charles was texting Adam. Adam is Lori Vallow's brother who already testified. And basically, they wanted to secretly record Lori having a conversation about her batshit crazy ideas. They were going to record it. They're going to send it to their church state president. That way they can take away Lori's temple recommendations away. And so when Charles pulls up, he's supposed to go there to pick up his son, JJ. Lori has JJ, right? And Charles is like, this is kind of weird because for some reason, Adam Cox is here. Or not Adam Cox, Alex Cox is here. The other brother. This is the brother that is no longer here anymore. He's deceased. And he's the one that allegedly shot Charles Vallow.
And then did Charles send a message within a few seconds of reading that? Absolutely.
Correct.
And then again, this timing is just within seconds, like just ongoing conversation.
Yes.
Do we see that just a few seconds later, Adam sends a message to Charles. I was supposed to spend the night at the house last night. She probably blocked that.
Yes, I do.
And then again, another 20 seconds later, Charles sends Adam a message. What you do is up to you.
Yes.
And then we're going to slowly segue into the next theory that the state has. The state believes that Lori Vallow took possession of Charles's phone after he was shot, and then she was going through the text messages so she can see what was going on between Charles's conversation with Adam's conversation.
Then we see that Adam sends a message back to Charles again within another 17 seconds or something. I'm going to put the pressure to have him come get me now, see what he says. And that was read again. When?
12:13.
And again, did Adam send a second message where he says, okay. And when was that read?
12:13.
And then Adam sends another message now. So these first two were at 7:37:29 and 7:37:39.
Yes.
And before he was shot, it seems.
And those were not read like these other ones almost simultaneously, correct?
Correct.
So after Charles said, what you do is up to you, it doesn't appear that he is any longer reading those emails.
Correct.
Or text messages, I apologize. The last text message that Adam sent then at 7:49 and 34 seconds was, me and Zach are going to the Stake Center tonight at 8 to play basketball. Holmes is always there, either playing ball or interviewing people. I will try to catch him to have a conversation with my old friend, right?
Correct.
When was that read?
12:13 as well.
12:13. Charles would have been dead by 12:13. Who is reading these text messages? Lori Vallow. And then also Adam, when he's texting Charles, he mentions Zachary. So Zachary Cox is apparently on Lori Vallow's witness list. They tried to subpoena him, and the judge was like, well, if he shows up, we'll see what happens then. But maybe he won't. Hey, Shanza, how are you doing today? Doing good. I just ate really quick. Diane, hello, hello. Brian Bradley, hello, hello. You just got home from work a few minutes ago. Oh, how was work today?
Is Charles Vallow alive at 12:13?
He is not.
So someone else is reading those.
Yes.
And this is coming from the extraction of Charles Vallow's phone.
Correct.
Do you know who was in possession of Charles Vallow's phone at 12:13 p.m. on July 11th of 2019?
Lori.
How do you know that?
She told us, and she turned the phone back over to us later that afternoon.
Hey, Sarah.
Did you ever find any other evidence that Lori Vallow and Alex Cox went through Charles Vallow's phone on July 11th of 2019?
Yes.
What we had already heard through Detective Werther, that search warrant was executed on Alex Cox's Verizon cell phone, 480-351-9120. And were you familiar with those records?
I am.
As part of the records that Verizon sent, and this is Exhibit 222 that has previously been admitted, did Verizon provide subscriber information?
Yes.
And that came back to Alex Cox?
Correct.
Did Verizon provide phone calls?
Yes.
Cell phone data?
Yes.
Cell tower data?
Yes.
And did they also provide some images that were saved by Verizon for associated with this phone number for Alex Cox?
They did.
Is that something that is with every carrier?
No, it's hit or miss as to whether you get them or not. Some carriers save them for longer, some save for shorter periods of time. Some don't save them at all.
Were these images, did the images themselves have any type of time date stamp on them?
The image of itself, it's an image of a phone with a time in the corner of the phone.
Okay. So let me put up, I'm going to put up some of these images that were from this. So
they were going through Charles's phone and they were taking pictures of his text conversations with Adam.
many of us talk about a screenshot, right? Is this a screenshot?
No.
Why not? How do we know it's not?
Because obviously in this case, you can actually see the entire phone, and you also have a counter in the background.
So in this image that Verizon sent, it's showing an actual phone. Have you seen Charles Vallow's phone?
Yes.
Did it look like the same shape as his phone?
Yes.
We see a time of 2:13 p.m., correct?
Correct.
When you were going through Charles Vallow's phone itself and the extraction, did you see this message between Charles Vallow and Adam Cox?
I did.
Did, in fact, Charles place the flight or book a flight for Adam Cox to come to Phoenix?
He did.
Was there?
Why were they taking pictures of the conversation? Were they going to use it to confront Adam? You know, something tells me that if Adam had been more persistent about communicating with Lori and Alex, I don't know. I think Adam could have been next. I think Adam could have had a target on his back.
There another image showing a closer up of the portion of that call with the flight information for Adam Cox?
Yes.
Hey, Michael. Hey,
And did it
Shaniqua.
also include a screenshot where Adam talks about going to see Lori at her house and having a talk with her and keeping his phone on record?
Yes.
And were these all messages, text messages, between Adam and Charles that you found on the extraction report?
They are.
And these are images that were saved by Verizon associated to Alex Cox's phone?
Yes.
So the Chandler Police Department had Charles's phone back in their possession by 3 or so in the afternoon of July 11th, correct?
Yes.
And it's been in Chandler Police Department's possession?
It has.
And yet the Verizon records for Alex Cox show photographs of Charles's phone and those conversations between Charles and Adam.
Yes.
Lori was going through them.
Now, did you learn in this investigation whether or not Lori Vallow knew the PIN to enter Charles's phone?
I did.
And did she, in fact, provide that to Detective Inclan so that it was easy to get into Charles's phone?
Yes.
So on July 11th, Lori Vallow has Charles Vallow's phone, and she knows the PIN number to access it.
Yes.
And it's in her possession.
Correct.
Did you ever find evidence that Alex Cox sent those photos of Charles Vallow's phone showing Adam's flight reservations to Lori Vallow on July 13th of 2019?
I did.
Again, we're talking about those iCloud accounts. Did you find that when you were reviewing the lollytime@icloud.com account information?
Yes.
Apparently, Lori and Alex were also calling Adam a Z, which is short for fucking zombie. Every time I still say it out loud, it still feels really fucking weird. But I feel like anytime when these group of people, the crazy, start calling you a Z or a zombie, they are dehumanizing you. Okay, they're trying to detach themselves from you, and they're probably moving to plot to maybe end you at some point. So I think Adam's very lucky that he wasn't the next target and that he cut his sister off after this.
I can have my paralegal approach with 231. And you 226 as well. Then you obtained a search warrant for the Lolly Time at iCloud account. How did you authenticate or know that those records were related to Lori Vallow?
So first and foremost, the account lists her phone number in the 956, ending in 9562, associating that number.
You know what? Lolly Time kind of matches Lori Vallow, because I don't know if you guys ever heard of like the term lolly before, but lolly refers to like a very childlike adult. I don't know. It's like a term they use in like anime and like Japanese video games. It's like women who are not women who are adults, I think, but they have very childlike qualities and they tend to be infantilized. I think I'm describing it correctly.
With the account. Secondly, you can go through the content of the account and you see contacts familiar to Lori. You see text messages where she's texting and people are calling her by her name of Lori. You also have photographs and videos on the account that could all associate that account to Lori.
Did that Lolly Time at iCloud account even include photographs of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell's wedding?
They did.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 226, which... Your Honor.
31 or
So she always objects and says relevance, and the judge is like, no.
Are you able to kind of go through this extraction, what is provided to you by Apple, and look for things separated in terms of like emails or text messages or photographs?
Yes.
And then are you also able to then determine both sources and timestamps for some of those things?
You are, yes.
So looking at this report from the Apple iCloud account, do we see the Lolly Time at iCloud as a source?
Yes.
And then we see a timestamp over here of 7:13 at 5:57 p.m.
Correct.
And then this, does that mean that's converted for Arizona time?
The UTC -7 mean it is Arizona time, yes.
Okay. And then we see from Alex Cox, the 9120 number, the one that we were talking about just recently, correct? So in this report, we see that there's 3 photographs that were sent.
Thumbnails of those, yes.
And then were those photographs also obtained or saved in the iCloud account?
They were.
And so again, showing those, were these the same 3 photographs that you had found in Alex Cox's Verizon records?
They are.
And looking at this, what day was Adam returning?
He was Sunday, July 14th.
So this message, this text message and photographs was sent on the 13th prior to Adam returning.
Yes.
Talk to you a little bit about that timeline and what you understood when we start including all this information in. Based upon your investigation, did you learn that Charles Vallow's phone left the area of 5531 South Four Peaks Place around 7:49 a.m. on July 11th?
Yes, I did.
So what we see is it's around the time that Adam sent that last text message?
Correct.
Based upon the GPS data from Charles Vallow's cell phone, when she left with Charles's phone around 7:49 a.m., and the 911 call being received at 8:36 a.m., how much time lapsed?
17 minutes? What the time?
From 7:49
49?
to 8:36, was that 46?
47 minutes?
Okay. So
That's how long they took to call 911.
if we have heard testimony from Dr. Baumgartner that Charles Vallow, when he was shot in the heart, would have taken up to a couple minutes to die after he was shot in the heart, and Lori Vallow has told Detective Inclan that she left right after Charles was shot, would that mean that Charles Vallow just lay dead on the floor for 45 minutes before Alex Cox called 911 at best?
Yes.
When you were looking at those Verizon cell phone records for Alex Cox, Exhibit 222, did you look at when and to whom Alex Cox called?
I did, yes.
So it's possible Lori Vallow might start presenting her case today. What angle do you think she's going to take? What do you think she's going to say her defense is?
Now, when you are looking at cell phone records, do they often include sort of dates and times of phone numbers, phone calls, durations, and those sorts of things.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, your corgi kettle bags. Oh, zero hurting at sticks. Yeah, Cheryl just likes to chase
Use the
things,
back
but
of one of these
I
here.
guess no
So,
hurting.
when we start looking at July 11th, is the first call that we see on Alex Cox's phone, him making an outgoing call.
Yes.
And do we see who he calls?
Lori.
So this 480-692-9562 number is one of the phone numbers that you have obtained a search warrant for that was subscribed to Lori Vallow.
Correct.
This is probably them trying to get their story straight.
When did that occur?
7:52 a.m.
So Lori Vallow leaves the house at 7:49 with Charles's phone, and 3 minutes later, Alex calls her.
Yes.
And did that last for
Under a minute, I believe.
under a minute? 49 seconds.
Yes.
Did you look at the next call that Adam Cox made on July 11th?
I did.
Was that what we see here at 8:06 a.m.?
Yes, set for the UTC -7 is 8:06 a.m., and that lasted for 55 seconds.
Who was that to?
Also placed to Lori.
So if Lori Vallow left the house at 7:49 with Charles Vallow's phone, how much time has lapsed when Alex calls her the second time? I know it's math.
The nonchalant enchilada is cooked. You can't believe they accepted as self-defense in the beginning. I wonder if it just took a while for the investigation to move along, because I'm realizing how tight the timelines were. So Charles Vallow was murdered in July, and then 2 months later was Tylee and JJ. And Lori Vallow did end up moving to Idaho to be with Chad, right? And then she disappeared. I don't know, like, weren't they all over the place? I wonder if law enforcement just had a hard time to just like really build a good, solid case against Alex and Lori, but they were like moving in that direction. Or did they rule it as self-defense and then just like didn't do anything else with it? I don't know. Because I was thinking like maybe it just took them time to just really try to build a case against them. Because at some point Lori does move to Idaho, and then I think Tylee was with Alex Cox for a bit, wasn't she? At what was it, like Yosemite or something? I don't remember where, but somewhere out there. And then when the kids were murdered, Lori eventually disappeared to Hawaii for a bit. So I wonder if they're trying to build a case against her, but then like the whole thing with like the children missing happened, and they're like had to take a step back, and the 3 murders just basically became the one that was being focused on. I don't know.
Math. Is it about 17 minutes?
Right. 17 minutes, yeah.
Because I mean, they even testified themselves that something wasn't right. It wasn't right. There were some things there that were like was kind of weird. After they were able to really look at the crime scene and then like do the autopsy and all that stuff.
Okay. At this point, has Alex called 911 yet at 8:06 a.m.?
At 8:06, he has not, no.
So at 8:06, Alex Cox calls Lori a second time, and Charles Vallow has now been laying on the floor for at least 17 minutes.
Correct.
Understanding that the 911 call isn't made till 8:36, Alex Cox waits another 30 minutes before he calls 911.
Yes.
Did Lori Vallow ever call 911?
No.
Neither of her calls, neither of her phones.
No.
Not on Charles's phone.
No.
She did. The jury doesn't know about it. I mean, they're not supposed to know about it. But yes, 2 months after she had her husband murdered, she killed her kids too. JJ, 7 years old. Tylee, 16 years old. Yep.
And do we in fact see the 911 call that was made by Alex Cox on these records?
Yes.
And it shows it as, these ones have not been converted, right?
Yeah, it's not converted, but the time converting that to the -7 would be 8:35:54 seconds.
Okay. So when we see the 911 call, that's the connection time with the dispatch was 8:36 basically.
Yes.
So we knew from Charles Vallow's phone and from body cam that Lori Vallow returns to 5531 South Four Peaks at about 8:48 a.m., correct?
Yes.
As you are looking through these phone records, are you looking to also identify whether or not what people are saying matches what we'll call the digital, the unchangeable evidence?
Yeah.
So you were present when Adam Cox testified, correct?
Correct.
And do you recall him testifying that he called his brother Alex on July 9th to see if he could stay with him?
Yes.
Did you look to see if Alex Cox records showed if Adam called him?
I did.
So if we looked at Exhibit 222, those Verizon records for Adam Cox, would we see on July 9th at 13:21 hours that Adam called Alex?
Correct.
Did that call last over 20 minutes?
It did.
Did you also hear Adam testify that he tried to reach Alex when he got to Phoenix on July 10th?
Yes.
And again, if we looked at Exhibit 222, Alex Cox's Verizon records, did you see any attempts by Adam to reach his brother Alex?
I did.
Did you see a call on July 10th at 3:22 p.m.?
Yes.
Did that not connect? There was no conversation time.
Correct.
Did you see a text message from Adam to Alex on Alex's records, Exhibit 222, at 3:23 p.m. on July 10th?
Yes.
Now, these records did not have the context of that, correct?
Correct.
But you can see that Adam sent a text message to his brother Alex.
Yes.
Did you see Alex ever call or text back his brother Adam?
Never.
Did you see another text from Adam to his brother Alex in Exhibit 222 at 6:28 p.m.?
Yes.
Did you see a response back from Alex to Adam?
I did not.
We also heard Adam testify, and we saw in those text messages that between Adam and Charles on July 11th that Adam said he was going to reach out to Alex and see what he did, right?
Right.
Did you look at Exhibit 222, these Verizon records, to see whether or not Adam, in fact, had reached out to Alex?
Yeah.
And does Exhibit 222 show that at 7:40 a.m. on July 11th of 2019 that Adam, in fact, texted his brother Alex?
Yes.
Did you see a response from Alex to Adam?
I did not.
So did Alex's cell phone records, Exhibit 222, sort of confirm or match what Adam was saying about trying to reach his brother?
They did.
When you were going through the extraction of Charles Vallow's cell phone, did you ever find a copy of a lease agreement for 5531 South Four Peaks?
I did.
A lease in that extraction of Charles Vallow's phone.
It is.
If I could have that back.
Amount, but okay.
So, sort of photo of a document that you found on Charles's phone show the lease date.
It did.
And when was that?
June 22nd, 2019, to end on June 30th of 2022.
So a 3-year lease.
Correct.
Just going through Charles Vallow's iCloud account, his cell phone. Where was Charles Vallow living in June and July of 2019?
In Houston.
Did you, in fact, find evidence that Charles Vallow had flown to Phoenix on July 10th of 2019?
Yes.
In addition to the Lollytime account, that there was a Lori for Style iCloud account, correct?
Yes.
You identified that iCloud account as being associated with Lori Vallow.
Very similar to the Lollytime account. The phone number ending in 9562 is listed as the subscriber phone number. Also the content of the phone, looking at photographs, videos, and communication with others. That is also the Lori for Style iCloud is an address that she actually gave to Banner Insurance as well.
Do we see in the Lori for Style two different phone numbers, both the 808-755-5452 and the 480-692-9562 number assigned to that subscriber?
You do.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 224 and 225.
Chad had his murder trial like 2 years ago.
And do you recognize 224 as the affidavit from the iCloud records authenticating that?
They buried the children in Chad's pet cemetery backyard. And when he was texting his other wife at the time, his wife at the time, he said that he was burying like raccoons in the pet cemetery or some shit like that.
Them?
Yes.
And is 225 some of the SMS or text messages that
All right, so we got some text messages.
the Lori for Style iCloud account records things in that iCloud?
Hey, Steph, how are you doing today?
Find a recording from November 17th of 2018 of Chad Daybell in Arizona.
Yes, it was him speaking at a Preparing the People event.
Okay. And have we heard testimony from witnesses who attended a Preparing the People conference here in November of 2018?
Yes.
In the Lori for Style iCloud account, did you find text message or SMS messages saved between Lori Vallow and her brother Alex Cox?
Yes.
How did Lori find Chad again? It was just like through the books, through these conferences. Did someone recommend her to go to Chad's conference? Like, what about Chad and his conference drew Lori to it?
When you were looking through these records, had you become aware of the name Ned?
Yes.
What was the relevance of that name in your investigation?
Through this investigation, we had learned that Ned was the name of a dark spirit that had taken over Charles' body. And so in knowing this, I went through these records looking for a mention of Ned and to the reference and how it was used.
And was this, when we talk about the dark spirit, is this something that through your investigation, as we've heard in court, was a name that Lori had associated or given to Charles Vallow?
Yes.
In Exhibit 225, are these messages in the Lori Force style iCloud account between Lori Vallow and her brother Alex Cox, where they're talking about Ned?
Yes, they are.
Is Ned a biblical figure, or Ned is just like a random ass name that they came up with? Again, Lori is just Lori, Alex, Chad, using these names to just try to dehumanize these people. His wackadoodle stories Chad wrote in his belief in near-death experiences. Oh man.
Was the
How did he what were his near-death experiences? Like, how did he almost die? Do y'all know? Hey Em, how are you doing today?
first time that you found that reference to Ned from February 15th of 2019 from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow?
Yes, it is.
And is that where we see Alex saying that Ned was at the temple yesterday looking for you? He thinks you are staying with me.
Correct.
And so again, we see the source is the Lori for Style, correct?
Yes.
And we see this is Lori Vallow's iCloud account, correct? And that's the number that we have associated with her with T-Mobile?
Yes.
Oh, wait, when was this? Was Lori with Chad during this time? And then Lori lied saying that she was with her other brother? That's good that he is so off, I guess. Ned just came by and entirely unleashed on him. He came to my house and he went to Summer first. He ran up in a rental car. Hey, Lo, what's your new address?
And then Alex Cox's Verizon record.
Correct.
During your investigation on February 15th of 2019, is this the time period where Lori Vallow had disappeared and was no longer in contact with Charles Vallow?
Yes.
Is this the time period where Charles
Oh, okay, cool. Now sorry.
had JJ by himself?
Yes.
And
I
do we
wanna
see
see the
then Lori
dates.
Vallow saying, that's good that he is so off, I guess?
Yes.
The next time we see the reference to Ned is that in March 2nd of 2019, again from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow?
Yes.
And does he advise, Ned just came by and entirely unleashed on him. He came to my house and he went to Summers first. He ran up in a rental car.
Correct.
So again, your understanding is from this investigation, from testimony in court, that Ned was Charles.
Yes.
Oh, okay, near-death experience. Let's see. He jumped off a cliff into the water. He claims his soul separated from his body. Okay, so he did a belly flop? Said he got hit by a rogue wave at the beach and cliff diving. Jesus working undercover with his bestie Lori. Hi, Aaron. I'm like, dude, you did a belly flop and it hurt. Oh, man.
Now, again, we talk about there was a time period when Lori is, both we've heard in Hawaii and in Idaho, correct?
Correct.
Do we also see Alex trying to get Lori Vallow's new address?
Yes.
And she gives him a lollytimeforever@gmail.com, correct?
Correct.
So that's another address that she had.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Now, we heard, again, Ned being associated to Charles. Do we have a text message on March 26th of 2019 from Alex to Lori saying, Ned is still alive, just confirmed?
Correct.
This next message, is that from Lori Vallow to Alex?
Yes.
And it says it's not Ned, right?
Correct.
So it's not even a he, it's. And then we have another message, it's a new one, Ned is gone.
Correct.
So is this around the time where we've heard of that Girls Week?
Oh, yes. Ned is still alive. Just confirmed. It's not Ned. It's a new one. Ned is gone. God, these batshit crazy people.
Weekend,
Yes.
where they were trying to cast out the evil spirit in Charles?
Correct.
Oh, man. How is Lori going to do in cross-examination? When she cross-examined those other women, she was basically trying to say that these weren't her beliefs. She didn't say any of this. Oh, gosh. They're going to get to the zombies shit, too. Don't worry. The zombie stuff. So embarrassing, Lori. So embarrassing.
As you continued in this Lori for Style, do we see again Lori texting Alex saying, no one has seen him, right? Just talk to him?
Correct.
And then Alex says, correct, Charles' body is alive, right?
Yes.
So in your investigation and through the testimony here at trial, have you heard people indicate that Charles' body was possessed by an evil spirit?
I have.
And they're trying to cast out this evil spirit?
Yes.
So here we see that it's not Charles is alive, it's Charles' body's alive.
Correct.
Does Alex then respond to Lori, what did you learn?
Yes,
And that one's from Alex to Lori.
correct.
And then does she respond, a lot, still working on it, we'll call you later.
That's correct.
Oh my God. Of course, when the two near-death experiences happened, he didn't say anything to anyone about it. Oh man, so you could just make that shit up.
When you went through a lot of these records, did you see a lot of reference to telling people to call her?
Yes,
Obviously, we don't have those recordings, right?
correct.
And so would you often see calls then in the phone records to match up with a request to call?
Yes,
Going back to the Lollytime iCloud account, was that account created on July 1st of 2019?
it was.
Was that created after Charles Vallow contacted Lori and Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell about the affair?
It was.
When you were going through those Lollytime iCloud account records,
Does anyone know if Tammy Daybell, did she reply back to Charles when Charles contacted her? Basically letting her know that, hey, your fucking husband's having an affair on you?
did you find evidence or find photographs in the Lollytime iCloud account showing the change in Charles's beneficiary form for his life insurance?
I did.
Did you see both a photograph of a computer as well as of documents?
Yes,
She didn't? No? Chad intercepted that email? Wait, what? Why does Chad have access to Tammy's emails? Oh gosh, I wonder if Lori gave Chad a heads up. Oh man. Wait, so did Tammy ever know that he was having an affair or had an inkling or anything like that?
Show defense 232.
Go ahead.
To that account.
yes,
When you cell phone extractions, are you able to sort of pull out reports and save the
No, cell phone extractions. Hold on. I just wanted her to get to the meat of it. Okay. July 28th.
8th that these photographs were sent to a phone number 515-402-0143 with a contact name of Bubby?
I do.
Bubby.
Now let's first go through these records and then we'll talk about the phone number, okay?
Okay.
So
Oh no.
what we see here are sort of the thumbnails. Are these the actual photographs associated or sent in each of these messages?
Yes, they are.
So we see these are MMS messages, meaning there's a photo associated with it.
Yes,
So one of the photos associated with it was this Banner life insurance, oops, I'm sorry, we're too close. Banner life insurance policy for Charles Vallow, correct?
correct.
Showing Lori Vallow as the primary beneficiary.
Yes,
And then there was a photograph of the document
No, I think she said Bubby. I think this is Lori Vallow sending messages to Chad.
showing, again, $1 million policy,
yes,
started in 2015, and the owner insured are Charles Vallow.
yes,
Then was there a photo of a computer screen?
there is.
And were you able to tell, because you see sort of the icons that you would see at the bottom of a computer screen in this?
Correct.
And a little bit of a glare on it. And is this the designation form that was changed by Charles Vallow that we had talked about previously in court?
Yes,
And so this is a photograph of the computer showing that Charles Vallow, in fact, changed this to Ethel K. Woodcock.
that is correct.
So on July 28th, Lori Vallow is sending copies of this to someone she calls Bubby.
Yes,
Now, did you guys want to find out who Bubby was?
absolutely.
Absolutely not.
Did you actually obtain a search warrant to get those phone records from AT&T for 515-402-0143?
Yes, I did.
I can have my paralegal approach with Exhibit 223.
Is that blubbery? Okay, what do we have? Oh man, I was like, just please don't get into the sexting stuff because we already listened to the sexting stuff in it was like Lori's trial, I think. Oh god, it was hard. It was hard. Okay, so there's pictures back and forth. Oh no. Oh gosh. Okay, we're going to know more about the contents of the pictures.
Once again, looking through the content of the messages that we saw, via either photographs sending back and forth or just written content, this person was found to be Chad Daybell. In addition to that, we received an audio recording from a local business in which Chad contacted this business and listed this as his phone number.
So this 515 number, there's a recording of Chad Daybell using this phone number to contact a business.
Yes.
And then the context of the messages that you see in this iCloud account with the contact Bubby confirmed that this was in fact Chad Daybell.
Yes.
State will move to admit Exhibit 223.
Any objection?
No objection.
22.
July 28th of 2019, Lori Vallow is sending photographs of the life insurance policy, original and the change, to Chad Daybell.
Yes.
As you were going through this iCloud account, the lolly time, did you go through many, many, many text messages?
Yes, I did.
Did you note text messages between Lori Vallow and her brother Alex Cox that were saved in that lolly time account?
Yes.
As you were going through those text messages, did you note Lori Vallow giving her brother the new address of 5531 South Four Peaks Place?
I did.
Did you see the messages leading up to July 11th? For instance, one on July 9th talking about being like Nephi?
I did.
Did you see text messages between them even out to August 12th where Lori Vallow talks about going to Social Security?
Yes.
And in these text messages, as you looked at these two conversing, did you see text messages talking about other people being Z's, just the letter, because of their association with Charles?
Yes.
All right, so she's going to read through these text messages. She's just basically just giving us like a little preview.
Time at iCloud account that we've discussed there. Sort of
Yes,
leading
ma'am.
up to and right after July 11th.
Yes.
State will move to admit Exhibit 227.
Yeah, let us see.
227.
Let's see. Oh God, y'all ready for this? These text messages.
Charles and Adam
Mel is bringing Bubby over. Is that what it says?
are making their plane reservations.
Yes.
And do we see that Alex tells Lori he'll be over in a bit?
Correct.
And then as we continue on the 9th, we see Lori respond, perfect, thanks, right?
Yes.
Address she lives at 5531 South Four Peaks, correct?
Correct.
And then there appears to be a response from Alex to her AX.
I believe that's probably an attempt to correct the prior state in the above. He spells AX as well, too. So there's an AX below.
Okay. So a little bit later, we see that was at 4:57 p.m., correct?
Yes.
So at 9 o'clock on the 9th, do we see a message from Lori Vallow to Alex Cox? So the plot thickens, call me when you can.
Yes.
Now at that point, when you looked at phone records, did you see any call between Lori Vallow and Alex Cox initially after this first text message?
Not after that first one, no.
So about 47 minutes later, on July 9th, at 9:50 p.m., does Lori Vallow send her brother Alex Cox a message, getting sleepy, so I'm going to need you to stay close to me the next couple days. Mel too. She can't go to Utah. They are planking some kind of intervention, but want Mel out of the way, so I'm left alone. I need to come get the stuff at your house tomorrow and store it or secure it. Lots to do. Thank you for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi, I am told, and so will you.
Oh, they both are Nephi. Okay, so I thought Alex was Nephi, and I thought Lori was like the Holy Spirit that whispers in his ear to tell Nephi to kill or some shit. I don't know. I'm trying to learn. Okay, we're trying to catch up to all this like weird shit that they're believing in. How the fuck were they able to convince so many people? They got Mel into this. There's Lori. There's Alex. There's Chad. How? How did all these morons get together? Jeez. When
you saw that message, did you ever check Alex Cox's cell phone records to determine whether or not there was a phone call after that?
I did.
Did you see that Alex Cox and Lori Vallow talked on July 9th at 21:56 hours? What time would that be?
9:56.
So 6 minutes after this, for 56 minutes?
Correct.
So 6 minutes after this text message, Lori and her brother have almost an hour-long conversation.
Yes.
Now, in this message, when you were going through these records, did you recognize or learn who Nephi was?
So in going through this particular message, I knew that Nephi was a figure in the Book of Mormon related to the Church of Jesus.
Oh no, is it the microphone audio that cuts out, or is it the court footage? What's cutting out? Oh no, I have to take a look at it. No. Is it my microphone? Audio's okay for you? Mine's okay, but that was happening a lot. Audio seems fine. Oh
Christ of Latter-day
gosh.
Saints, but I didn't.
It's all over the place. Okay, I'll have to watch it back later. I mean, I'm gonna edit this later anyways. See what it is.
And the Book of Mormon related to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but I didn't understand the significance. So I then did some research to find out who Nephi was.
You were present in court when Adam testified, correct?
Yes.
And did his testimony about Nephi being told by the Holy Spirit to kill Laban and that this was a justified killing match with what you had learned when you researched it?
Yes, it did.
Poor guy. He's like, who the hell
So-
is Nephi?
As you were going through these messages, and let me say this. This investigation, were you able to get to this like July 12th? You're on it and reviewing all these iCloud accounts?
No.
Did it take a significant period of time to start finding phone numbers and finding iCloud accounts and then writing warrants to obtain them?
Correct. It's an evolving process. You would find one, and then that would lead you to another. So you're continually writing search warrants for other carriers and businesses.
Okay. So when you're reviewing this now, you know the scene and you're understanding some of the case, but you're still putting pieces together.
Right.
Now, were you aware from looking at Charles's phone and the messages between Charles and Adam that they were talking about an intervention?
Yes.
So on July 9th, Adam and Charles were discussing an intervention,
Correct.
possibly recording Lori.
Yes.
And then what we see then at 9:50 at night is Lori telling her brother that they're planning an intervention.
Yes.
So the same day that Adam and Charles were talking, Lori is already letting her brother know there's going to be an intervention.
Correct.
And they're trying to get her separate and alone for this.
Correct.
And then there's that long phone call that we don't have recorded, correct?
Yes.
Judge, do you want me to keep going through these or break here? I do have a...
Okay, they are going to break, and then oh man, these text messages rough. So they have an hour and a half lunch break. Woo, long lunch break. All right, y'all ready for this? We're gonna be diving deep into these text messages, man. Oh gosh, they're gonna be so cringe. Oh wait, Madame Shih Tzu today. Here comes Madame Shih Tzu with her little folder. She needed to be bathed in holy water.
You're present. Let's bring in the jury. Oh, I did put drafts of proposed jury instructions for you guys to review tonight. Obviously, some of those can change depending on what happens with the defense case, but that's at least...
Depending on what happens in the defense's case. She might not have anyone to call as a witness. I don't know, man. We don't know what's going on. Looks like she's like struggling over there.
something for you to get started with. Let's bring in the jury.
All right, jury's gonna come in. Jury coming on in. We're gonna be cringing so hard today. Oh, I hope they don't read the sexting stuff out loud. I've already gone through the sexting stuff. They are horrible between her and Chad. Oh my gosh. Chad just like calling her a goddess and just worshiping her is just like so gross. Mm.
I know when it times itself out, it shuts down.
Oh, I think they were having some tech issues. Little mini tech issues. Tech issues. Oh, let's see. Did I read this part? Oh, okay. Finally hearing about Tammy Daybell's name this morning after Charles contacting her about the affair after finding the fake email Lori sent asking Chad, acting as Charles, to come to Arizona to ghostwrite a fake book. The jury is very focused on the prosecutor and the fake email testimony. Why? I don't understand. Why did she do that? It's so weird. And I think she was also talking to Chad pretending to be a woman named Karen or something. I don't know if they were trying to disguise the identity so Tammy wouldn't know in case she found out, or if Lori was just semi-catfishing Chad and then, I don't know. Like, what was Lori doing? All right, tech support. Oh man, how long is this tech support thing for? Tech support. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, thank you. All right, so just to put us back into perspective, when we broke before lunch, we were discussing Exhibit 227, correct?
Yes.
And this was some of the SMS or text messages between Lori Vallow and Alex Cox that were collected from her Lolly Time iCloud account.
Correct.
Okay. And we had discussed the text messages from July 9th referencing the intervention.
Yes.
And we had discussed the text messages from July 9th discussing Nephi.
Yes.
Those messages also referred to Mel, correct?
Correct.
Now, as we go to the next page of this report, for
Yes, if you guys are enjoying, hit the like button. Thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate you guys being here.
the 10th of July, do we then see text messages between Lori Vallow and Alex Cox talking about meeting up for lunch with Mel on July 10th?
I do.
And then, as those messages go along, does Lori Vallow, in fact, invite Alex over to her house?
Yes.
And he advises, okay.
Yes.
Hey, Angie, thank you so much for joining the members. Oh my God, wait, is that your doggo in your profile picture wearing the pink? Oh my God, how adorable. Angie, thank you so much for joining the membership. Thank you so much for your support. Guys, please welcome Angie. Hello, hello. I appreciate it.
Are there any text messages between them on the 11th of July?
There are none.
Now, the next messages that we show in this, and again, these are not all of the text messages, correct?
Correct.
Is from the 13th of July, correct?
Correct.
So this is after Charles was killed. Need you. Adam is freaking out at Social Security. Uh-oh.
And it says, need you, Adam is freaking out. Based upon your understanding of the case and the testimony of Adam Cox, is that when he found out Charles Vallow was dead?
That is correct.
So this one is from Lori Vallow to Alex saying, need you, Adam is freaking out.
Yes.
Again, as we kind of go through what was relevant, and we're not saying these are all of the text messages, on August 12th, do we see a text message from Lori Vallow to Alex Cox saying, at Social Security?
Yes, you do.
Based upon your information and review of the case, were you familiar with August 12th being the date that Lori Vallow went to Social Security to apply for survivor benefits?
Yes.
Told us that when you were looking through these messages, we had originally looked at some of the messages from the Lori for Style account, and you had looked for messages involving Ned, correct? When we heard testimony from Serena Sharp, do you recall her using the word zombie?
I do.
And that she indicated that that was a term that Lori used.
Correct.
And it referred to something.
I want to know what the jury's thinking. You imagine just like serving, doing your jury duty service, and then you're like sitting there for this like fucking trial, and then like zombies, Z's, like Nephi, like, oh my God, just like this shit is wild.
To do with the possession.
Yes.
As you were looking through these messages, did you ever see Lori referring to people as Z's
I
or
did.
Z,
Just the single letter Z.
single letter Z? And so when we look at these messages,
What do you think Lori's gonna do in cross-examination? She's gonna be like, Z, that's just a nickname that I use. It doesn't stand for zombie. There's no evidence of zombie. Because remember, there was an interview that Lori did recently where she was like, those are my beliefs. What do you mean? When they confronted her about like the whole zombie shit. Oh man. I thought that too. They were asking the investigator. So Ned was a spirit, right? Evil spirit?
messages, Exhibit 227, do we see starting on September 3rd, a message from Lori Vallow to her brother Alex Cox saying, bad news on our brother.
Yes.
And Alex responds, what's that?
Correct.
And she says, Z.
Yes.
And does Alex then say, really, when was that?
Yes.
You're next, Adam. Oh my God. Ned recruited him
As that
shortly
conversation
after.
continued on that September 3rd, does Lori tell Alex as of early January?
Yes.
Now, is it your understanding, based upon both testimony from people like Kay Woodcock as well as your own investigation and testimony from Christina Atwood, that sort of in February and March is when Lori Vallow disappeared?
Yes.
So She's now saying her brother has been a Z as early as January. Does then Alex Cox respond back to her? That explains his interest in Charles.
So her brother, I think, as far as Z or Zach? Zach is
Her brother
yes.
first.
Yeah.
So initially, she's talking about her brother, right?
Correct. Yes.
And so in this conversation, as we start through, Lori is telling Alex that their brother is a Z, correct?
Correct.
As early as January. And it's tied to Charles, right?
Correct.
And in fact, the next text from Lori Vallow to Adam says, Ned recruited him shortly after. This is why, right?
Yes.
She then goes on to say he's part of the 24, correct?
Yes.
What's the
And
24?
Alex says, that makes sense. Wow.
Wow.
Correct.
Does Lori then go on to speak of more Zs?
She does.
Does she in fact say, again, still on this September 3rd conversation, more sad news, guess who is the final Z of the 24?
Yes.
And Alex questions if it's Pops or Brandon.
Correct.
And then Alex also says, Zach. Oops.
Oh no. So Brandon was also a Z. Is Pops their father? Zachary is Adam Cox's son.
May not be showing yet, sorry. So Lori tells, guess who the final Z of the 24 is, right?
Correct.
Then we see from Alex, he guesses Pops or Brandon with a question mark.
Yes.
And then Alex also responds, Zach.
Correct.
And sort of the times here are close in time.
Correct.
We have 10:20:29 and 10:20:43. Lori responds, nope, think of Judas, who loved me completely, then turned against me.
Yes.
And then we see Alex saying, tell me.
Correct.
And Lori Vallow says to Alex, yes, our sweet Zach, he is in paradise, the real Zach. It makes final sense.
Can you push that up a little further just to verify? That is correct.
And does Alex then ask Lori, his sister, when this happened?
Yes.
So we're still on the same date. And does Lori then tell Alex about the time he turned, makes sense, he being dedicated to Brandon and Ned?
Yes.
So again, we're still seeing this reference of Ned being Charles.
Correct.
And so now they're tying Adam, Zach, and Brandon.
You know what? I wonder if Lori really didn't believe this whole zombie thing. So Chad would use it in order to get people to be scared and like use him as a leader to follow through whatever it is that they were preparing themselves for, like the doomsday shit, right? He was using it probably as like manipulation and control. Lori, in terms, I think Lori, I don't know if she actually believed this whole zombie thing. I wonder if she just used it to control her brother because she's like, you know what? This is the only way I can get my brother to kill for me. Get him to believe that there are these people in my lives, that they're not really them anymore. They're just bodies being inhabited by evil spirits. Because, you know, at this point, it seems like Alex Cox, I don't know, they always talk about this car accident that he had where like his head was like kind of like fucked. Like he wasn't like super normal. It was kind of like, probably like not mentally right, maybe. I don't know. Even I'm not sure if that's true because he's married and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder if this is just a way for Lori to just like manipulate and control her brother. Like, did she really believe in it? Was she really as crazy as we thought that she was? Huh.
Brandon with Charles.
Correct.
And so do we see again, so from Alex to Lori, so February.
Yes.
And again, is this around that time period where Lori Vallow disappeared,
Correct.
left JJ with Charles,
Yes.
and we had heard in the interview that the defendant gave with Detective Ann Clan that she told her about her just leaving and disappearing.
Yes.
As that conversation goes on, does Alex then say, how did Zach die, or was he forced out?
He does.
Previously, in the Lori for Style, had we seen, again, a reference of Charles' body being alive, but Ned being gone?
Yeah.
And again, we've heard people testify as to Charles being possessed by that evil spirit,
Yes.
and the unknown of if that spirit went away, what that would mean for Charles.
Correct.
Yeah,
So this
she's still-
conversation then, after Alex asked Lori, how did Zach die, or was he forced out?
Yeah, she still believes it. According to the psych report from Lori's trial in Idaho, she really believes this stuff.
Does Lori go on to say, it's crazy, I know, but it's sad and true. Now we know all 24, right?
Yes.
And then she also tells Alex, forced out, I think.
Correct.
And did Alex then say, with his anxiety, he wasn't strong enough to fight back?
Yes.
And Lori, and he said, So throughout this time period, from February of 2019 up through September after this, are we still seeing Lori talking about Charles being dead,
Yes.
this concept of Z or zombies,
Correct.
and others that seem to have helped Charles were equally dark?
Yes.
On the day, or the day leading up to, as well as on the 11th of July, so July 10th and 11th, did you, in looking at the reports for the Lolly Time iCloud account, see messages between Lori Vallow and her sister Summer?
I did.
In those messages, did you see Summer providing updates as to the location of Adam and Zach on the 10th?
On the 10th, yes.
And did you also see Summer providing information about a place for Lori to stay?
I did.
Nephi paralegal approach. Exhibit 287 into evidence. How is Zach related to Adam?
Zach is Adam's son.
And so we heard Adam say that when he came down here, Zach was staying with his parents.
Yes.
And Zach ended up actually flying home with him.
Yes.
So on the 10th of July, we see, again, this is instant messages now. Is that another type of data that could be saved in the iCloud account?
Yes, it can.
So in these instant messages, we can see who it's from as a contact of Some, right?
Correct.
And Adam had told us that Summer was sometimes called Some.
Yes.
And then again, contact the 480 with the last number is 9562, is that Lori Vallow's?
Yes, it is.
So instant messages between Lori Vallow and Summer.
Yes.
So on July 10th at 2:04, Summer's asking if Lori can talk.
Yes.
And then about 34 minutes later, does she advise that Mom is in the car with Adam and Zach on the way home from Sky Harbor?
Correct.
And so we knew that Adam came in early afternoon on the 10th, right?
Yes.
And then Summer tells her sister, Lori Vallow, she wanted to know if she could confront him as a preemptive strike. I told her no, just to collect info.
Yes.
So we know from the 9th,
Was this before Summer realized how crazy Lori was, or were they just going along with what Lori? I don't know. Was Lori just like the leader or something of the family?
conversation or that text message by Lori Vallow to her brother Alex that she's aware there's an intervention about to happen.
Correct.
And she is rallying the troops around her.
Correct.
And her mom is asking if she can help by doing a preemptive strike.
Yes.
Then do we see an instant message also on the 10th at 2:43 from Mimi. Adam thinks Melanie left for Utah today because that's the last he knew. I just left it that way.
Yes.
Again, going back to that July 9th message, did Lori tell Alex that Mel had to stay and she couldn't go to Utah?
Yes.
As Summer continues updating Lori Vallow on July 10th at 2:48, does she tell her they're headed to Mimi's house?
Correct.
Who's Mimi?
And then as we
Melanie?
continue on at 7:10 at 3:29, does Summer provide an update again that Zach and Adam are headed to a Spider-Man movie in the time that is happening at?
Yes, they do.
Then on 7:10 at 4:56, we see again a message from Summer. I think so, just me and the kids here, right? Or
Correct.
M. Then we see a reference to JJ at 7:10 at 6:25 that he left his wrist brace and ukulele there, right?
Yes.
Can we see these text messages, cameraman?
At 6:26 p.m. on July 10th, does Summer then offer Lori that she could stay at her house?
She does.
She tells her, would you rather stay here this week while we are gone? That way no one would know you were here. We can tell Zach we are putting Zeus in a kennel.
Correct.
So she's willing to lie to Zach so her sister can stay at her house and have no one know where she is.
Apparently.
Is Zeus
Then
the
she
dog?
continues to update Lori that at 8:10 p.m. on the 10th that Zach and Adam are still here playing Phase 10 and eating, right?
Yes.
And as the night goes on, Summer then advises that, again, keeping her updated where Adam and Zach are.
Correct.
Did this message say, again, that Adam was waiting for Al to text him back?
Yes.
So again, we knew Adam was thinking he was staying with Al, right?
Correct.
Lori's whispered, no, he didn't.
And then finally, at 8:54, we see Adam and Zach just left to go to Mimi's.
Yes.
And so we heard from Adam that they stayed with his parents.
Correct.
And then on the 11th, did we just see instant messages from Summer reaching out to Lori saying, how's it going today?
Yes.
No responses on those.
No.
Wasn't there another trial that we covered recently where there was a sister that was like so devoted to her sibling? What's the trial that we covered, or a case that we covered, where the sibling bond is kind of strong?
Now, we've seen a lot of this mention of Melanie, or Mel, and when Adam testified, he told us that his sister's daughter was Melanie Boudreau at the time, correct?
Correct.
In the lollytime at iCloud.com account, was there a contact name for a Mel B, or Melanie B?
Yes, there was.
And did you learn who Melanie B was in this contact list?
That was Melanie Boudreau.
Hey, Joe.
So we see a mention of a Mel in that July 9th Nephi text to Alex, right?
Correct.
And we see other mentions of Mel throughout these other text messages that we've had,
Yes.
including the need for Melanie or Mel not to go to Utah, correct?
Correct.
Show defense 228. Wally time.
Yes, they are.
All right, enter them in and please show us the text messages.
Talked about earlier that there are a lot of times where we see sort of the call me things sent. When you first look at this 228, the messages between Lori Vallow and Melanie B on July 9th at about 7:21 p.m., do we start with a message from Lori to Melanie, need to talk to you ASAP?
Yes.
Now, when you were talking about the Alex message, let me grab that one.
July 9th, so 2 days before Charles was murdered.
With Alex Cox that are a little bit later, where we're talking the plot thickens, call me when you can, right?
Correct.
So these messages to Melanie B occur before, but it's the same sort of thing. So the plot thickens, call me when you can. We see a message from Lori to Melanie, need to talk to you ASAP, right?
Correct.
And then I'll call you in 5, finding out what to do. Correct?
Correct.
And then a response of K.
Yes.
As sort of the night goes on, we see some sort of messages of Melanie updating Lori of where she is and what's going on, right?
Correct.
Journey.
And then we see from Lori telling Melanie at 8 o'clock, you can't go tomorrow. It's a setup for both of us, still on the phone, finding out the details.
Correct.
At that time, she hasn't sent the message yet to Alex, correct?
Correct.
So the Nephi message has not gone out yet.
Yes.
So then we see Lori Vallow sending to Melanie B. They have an elaborate plan.
She looks nothing like me. What? Looks nothing. She looks kind of like Aquafina, maybe? Is that Brittany Murphy? Wait, why is it? There's a woman in here that looks like Brittany Murphy. Oh my god, she looks nothing like me. Lori and Chad together was a perfect storm. Maybe separate, they would be okay, but together they're evil. I don't know, man. Lori is very manipulative. Lori just needed to find someone. Anyone. Whew. It was like Lori and Alex.
I'll call you soon.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Then as the time goes on, we see a message again, now from Melanie saying, I could take all the babies and drive and take our stuff.
Correct.
But Lori responds, you can't go at all. We both need to stay here to defend ourselves, right?
Can you move that up, please?
Sure, yes, sorry.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. She looks nothing like me. She looks very like Chinese. She looks nothing like me.
That is correct.
So Lori's telling her you can't go.
Yes.
Maybe it's coming to a head. This week will change everything.
Yes.
And that's where Melanie B says, probably why I felt sick about going, even when told to plan to go.
Correct.
And then again, we see another call me, right?
Correct.
Now, when we look at timing, we know again, when we go to 227, that the plot thickens to Alex is at 9:03, right?
Yes.
And so now we also have the plot thickens also sent here where they're talking.
That's to Alex.
Sorry, that's Alex, yes.
Right.
So as the night goes on, 9:28, this is sort of in between those messages to Alex as well as before the Nephi one.
Right.
And do we see here that Melanie says, I can lay at my house if I need somewhere to go. And then she goes on to say, I think I'll tell him I don't want to get the kids sick, so I'll go lay down at Mimi's, then gym, temple, and lunch.
Yes.
So she's going to pretend to be sick, but she's going to go to the gym, temple, and lunch.
Correct.
Then she continues to sort of advise what's going on the 10th and tell Lori, is it better for me to stay here or leave, do you think? So she's getting her direction from Lori.
Correct.
And then from Melanie, she advises Lori, Adam and Charles don't come until tomorrow, right? Or she asks her. And then she says, Brandon said it's okay, we can get in a flight tomorrow or whenever you're better.
Yes.
So.
Oh, by the way, I don't think Brandon is going to be testifying for this trial, but I'm sure he will be testifying for the other trial Lori has in 2 months.
On the 10th, Melanie asked if Charles and Adam are coming in, right?
Yes.
And Lori tells them they both come tonight, correct?
Yes.
So she already knows that Adam is coming and that Charles is coming.
Yes.
Does it go on? Okay. This is from Melanie. So today doesn't really matter, but I'm here. I have the kids tomorrow, and that could make it easier for them. So I should probably be sick again tomorrow, question mark?
Correct. Correct.
And again, does Lori say, I think so, but I think they're moving their plans to tomorrow since they will still try to get rid of you.
Yes.
Then there's a discussion from Melanie about wanting to go to this wedding.
Correct.
And Lori saying, I know, baby, I'm so sorry. This is important to your mission, even though I know it's hard to just sit there.
Correct.
So she's given her a mission to pretend to be sick.
She has a mission, yes.
Oh, God.
Then we see from Melanie, I just got to the gym, but do you want to do lunch after? What's your day look like? Are you going to Glendale?
Correct.
So we can see a plan going here where she's pretending to be sick for Lori, but they're meeting up.
Yes.
Lori says, yes, let's do lunch. I'm not going today.
Correct.
Then they discuss sort of meeting up. And as we go on in the 10th, is Melanie advising her that Brandon's been here the whole time. He's been on the phone and texting the whole time. I told him I'm trying to get on a flight tomorrow, but he thought the wedding was tomorrow, so he was surprised it's Friday.
Correct.
And Lori tells her maybe she can go tomorrow night. So on the 11th, Lori Vallow already knows by the night of on the 10th, Lori Vallow is already knowing, but by the night of the 11th, Mel need not stick around.
Correct.
So she needs to be there in the morning, but maybe you can go tomorrow night on the 11th.
Correct.
And then we see, again, Melanie, maybe I'll tell him I'm not going at all, and then I just end up going Thursday night, but his plans are canceled. And again, so July 11th is Thursday, right?
Yes.
Lori then tells Melanie, I don't want you to regret not going, right?
Correct.
Melanie checks in on Lori. This is still the 10th. How are things on your end?
Honestly, he was feeling sick yesterday, so he couldn't testify. So I wouldn't. Maybe the attorney was like, "Hey, you know, like I'll make it easier for you. I'll read the text messages. You just sit there. You just nod your head, okay, and just don't throw up or whatever it is." But poor guy said he felt sick yesterday, so I hope he feels better now. Unless he was playing hooky.
And also, I don't want to regret not going. Meanwhile, I'm over here dealing dreading packing and playing sick, right?
Correct.
So she confirms that she's doing this for Lori to distract Brandon.
She's not really sick, yes.
Then we see Melanie saying, packing for the move, that is, and then asked to be, will you clear me?
Correct.
So still on the 10th, as we get to 6:47, we have Lori telling Melanie, sure, I'll work on you now. Do you want to come over for a blessing?
Oh,
Correct.
God.
And this is where we then see Melanie ask, sure, I can, but is Charles coming? Is Al there? Right? And so Lori lets her know that Al is here at 7:18 p.m. on July 10th, right?
Correct.
And Charles says he will come over in the morning.
Yes.
So at 7:18, everyone sort of knows Al is over at Lori's, Charles isn't there, he'll be over the next morning.
Correct.
And then we see Melanie say,
Yeah, we had a lot of hearsay when Kay Woodcock was testifying, but Lori didn't know what she was doing.
I'll head over, right?
Correct.
This next message is from the 11th, correct?
Yes.
And we see her tell Lori again, Zach is here, right?
Correct.
And again, now it's closer to 8. He just acted like he was coming over to get his mail. He told Brandon, oh, hey, Adam's in town. And Brandon acted like he didn't know. I asked if he was moving in with Adam Cannon, and he said he doesn't know yet. And then do they confirm after that, I can fly out at 9 p.m. tonight and be back Saturday afternoon?
Correct. And those two prior messages, you can see the time frame of 7:48. Obviously, the event has taken place, and they're not read until 1:38 in the afternoon.
Okay, so yes, so this is at the 7:53 a.m. when this is sent. That is after Lori Vallow has left the house with Charles's phone in his car.
Correct.
And it's read at 1:28 after Lori Vallow has been interviewed and released back in Charles Vallow's SUV.
Yes.
And they go over to Alex's house.
Correct.
So when you're trying to put this case together, you're having to pull all these different text messages to see when Lori knew what she knew and who she was directing to do things, correct?
Correct.
As you were looking through these messages, were you also having to figure out who some of these people were?
Yes, I was.
Oh no, we're gonna get into some text messages about Chad writing a romance story about Lori and Chad. Oh my god, you guys want me to read it to you? I never read this before. I haven't read this yet, so I don't know how bad it's gonna be. Holy shit.
We had talked about
Let's
that
see.
phone number, the 515 number that was listed.
Didn't they try to kill Brandon as well? That's why Lori has another trial in 2 months, June 2nd.
As a contact of Bubby. Do you
Yes.
recall that?
Yes.
And that you, through looking at the iCloud account, the text messages, the call that was made by Chad Daybell using this phone and recorded, that Bubby contact name is Chad Daybell.
Correct.
When you were reviewing those iCloud accounts, does every text message always save in them?
They do not know.
So did you also have to look at phone records to see if those matched up or if there were missing records?
I did.
And we talked about, obviously, phone calls are not saved in the iCloud account, right?
Correct.
So when you were looking at those Chad Daybell phone records, did you look to see on the morning of July 11th of 2019 if there were any text messages or phone calls made between Chad Daybell's Bubby phone and Lori Vallow?
I did.
Do those records show a text message from Chad Daybell's phone to Lori Vallow's phone on July 11th of 2019 at 6:06 a.m.?
Yes.
And those are all in the records that we previously admitted.
Correct.
Was there another text message from Lori Vallow's cell phone to Chad Daybell's phone on July 11th at 6:12 a.m.?
Yes.
Was there a text message from Chad Daybell's phone to Lori Vallow's phone at 7:01 a.m.?
Correct.
And another text message from Chad Daybell's phone to Lori Vallow's phone at 7:33 a.m.?
Yes.
So those phone records don't show us the content of those.
No, it just shows that the message they were communicating, but her iCloud will not show the actual content of those.
Okay. Looking still at that Exhibit 223, as well as Exhibit 223, which is the 515 number associated with Chad Daybell, and looking at the T-Mobile records for Lori Vallow, Exhibit 220, Did you look at those two records to see if there was any calls or text messages between Chad Daybell's phone and Lori Vallow's phone after Charles was shot on
Yes.
July 11th?
Yes.
Was there a phone call between those two phones, Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, on July 11th at 12:39 p.m.?
Yes, there was.
That lasted about 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Correct.
This was
So
after
that
Charles'
would have been
murder?
after Lori Vallow was interviewed by the police and brought back to the residence.
Correct.
Was there no other phone call on July 11th of 2019 from Chad Daybell's phone to Lori Vallow's phone at 2:28 p.m. that lasted a little over 11 minutes?
Yes.
Is that around the time that Detective Enclan was calling Lori to have her come back to 5531 South Four Peaks?
Yes, it was.
Did you see another call between Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell at 5:42 p.m. that lasted for over 30 minutes?
I did.
And did you see another call between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow on July 11th of 2019 at 7 p.m. that lasted approximately 11 minutes?
Yes.
And did you see a final call on July 11th between Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow at 7:54 p.m. that lasted a little over 13 minutes?
I did.
Wow, look at them just calling each other now. No need to conceal it. No need to hide it. Do it out in the open.
When you were looking at the text messages between Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, or contact named Bubby, that you located in those Lollytime at iCloud account, did you notice a romantic relationship between them?
Yes, I did.
Prior to Charles being shot and killed on July 11th of 2019, did you see any open and obvious romantic messages from Chad under any of his contact names that you knew of to Lori Vallow?
I did not.
After Charles's death on July 11th of 2019, did you see any open and obvious romantic messages from Chad Daybell under any of his contact names to Lori Vallow?
I did.
Yeah, they're waiting for him to die.
Now, were there many messages and between Lori Vallow and contact name Bubby or Chad Daybell?
Yes, there were.
And again, those are all part of that, recovered as part of the search warrant on the Lollytime at iCloud account.
Yes.
In these text messages, did Chad write a, I'll call it, romantic story about Lori and himself that he texted and emailed to her?
He did.
Did he have other names for them?
I believe the names were James and Elena.
Did that story
Okay, we have to read it. It's just 4 pages long. We have to read it. It's 4 pages long. Okay, I've never read this yet. Okay, so this is something that Nate Eaton texted. Shout out to them. East Idaho News. All right. Here's a story contained in the Chandler, Arizona police documents. Oh boy. Giddy up, y'all. Found on the redacted account, further messages would indicate the talk of the restraining order was in regards to Melanie and Brandon. Redacted. Continuing to read through the messages between Chad and Lori, she asked him to clear Melanie's new house of any bad spirits. Chad stated that he was working on the house, but he was having to break down bad spirits that Brandon created. He also stated that he was able to detect 3 listening devices in her new house, and he directed Lori to where they were. On July 13, 2019, so this is 2 days after Charles was killed, at 22:08 hours, Chad sent Lori the following message. I am heading to bed so that I can come snuggle tightly against you. I adore you. You are truly my best friend on earth and throughout eternity. See you in a minute. Heart, 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 smooch, 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 fire, 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 fire. This was dated prior to Tammy Daybell's death. On July 14, 2019, I noticed Chad began to write Lori a story that was sent in many text messages throughout the day. The story seems to be a romance novel of sorts about them, but the names were changed to James and Elena. In future text messages, Chad and Lori would refer to each other as James and Elena or Raphael and Lily. The following the story that I observed between email and text messages. The text is just as it appears in the messages and has not been corrected for grammatical errors. Friday morning, October 26, driving south on the freeway, a voice said, "You will meet an extraordinary woman today who will change your life forever." This was shocking, since such a thing seemed very unlikely at this conference. It is actually a very detailed story that began long ago on another world, and I will cover that part as I go along. And the character figures things the characters figure things out. But on the morning of October 26, James arrived in St. George. Oh, God, we're in St. George? Wait, St. George. St. George. Is this where fucking crazy batshit Jodie Hildebrand is? Or is this a different St. George? Still baffled by the message he had received, he unloaded his books, set up his table, then joined the organizers for dinner in the main room. He saw his friend MG, who had been so helpful to him when he spoke at Mesa in July. MG introduced James to her friend Elena. When their hands touched, he felt a shock pass through him and his heart started beating fast. Elena was gorgeous, vivacious, and James was a little intimidated yet honored that she would talk to him. He was happily surprised when she mentioned a key part of his novel, The Renewed Earth. No one had ever recognized the significance of the scene before. He had heard that voice before and seen that smile before. He felt that they even had talked like this before. But who could be certain when? It was strange, but he could remember. The feelings were very strong, as if they had known each other for so long. They didn't give any chances to talk after that because he had to help a voice woman's blue Muppet. Huh? To what? Had to help voice a woman's blue Muppet? Oh, okay. Like the puppet thing? But he watched her every chance he could. He had to stay at a relative's house that night, and he hardly slept. He kept envisioning himself with Elena in a very wonderful situations that indicated they had become more than just friends. James was the first speaker on Saturday morning and knew exactly where Elena was sitting. He made sure to mention the scene from his book that they had discussed the previous evening. He was completely smitten by her and even nervous of what she would think of his talk as he spoke. But when he would glance at her, she was always attentive and watching him, unlike the rest of the crowd. Oh man, the rest of the crowd was bored. They were not into what he was saying. After his talk, he went to his book table. His talk had gone well, and there was a good group gathered around to buy books. His heart nearly leapt out of his chest when Elena joined him and helped sell the books. She was so beautiful that he could hardly concentrate on the customers. She straightened the books and gave the books great reviews, although she made him laugh a lot when she kept pushing the youth and fifth volumes of his fifth series. He could only giggle when people asked if she was with. Oh no! He could only giggle when people asked if she was his wife, because yes, in fact, she was. She just didn't know it yet. Ew! James was definitely having amorous feelings towards Elena as they sold books together. He had not felt this happy in his entire life. He was quite sure this was the woman the voice had told him about. James was ecstatic because he had already fallen deeply in love with her. What? What? How? Or better yet, he remembered how much he already loved her. Her eyes had mesmerized him from the moment they met, but once the book sale slowed down, she stood near him behind the table. They looked deeply into each other's eyes for the first time. Oh my God. And he knew he was in the presence of a goddess. He resisted an impulse to kiss her, but his entire body was on fire. He instinctively knew she was everything he had ever dreamed of. I must clarify that James is a very difficult person to get information from. He has been blessed with knowledge, but 99% of the people he knows do not realize that. He's very guarded. It is a great task to gain his trust. Oh my God, he thinks he's so special. But as Elena leaned forward him, leaned forward him, and asked a couple of very insightful questions, his heart burst with joy. He knew she was the one of the very few people on earth he could trust. James' spirit was so excited at this revelation that he shattered a thick veil that had been placed between the two souls during their mortal lives. The thick veil had been placed because of the unique, unparalleled love James and Lena had shared in previous lifetimes. That veil had prevented them from finding each other until this appointed day that would be remembered throughout the heavens as a true beginning of a spectacular mission that would save millions of souls and defeat the forces of darkness. St. George is also a wonderful little island off the Pensacola coast in the Gulf. James' physical attraction to Elena was almost overwhelming, but he was equally drawn to the spiritual energy that was radiating from her. As they talked, it was confirmed to him that they had indeed been married before and were eternal companions. He had glimpses of them walking dusty paths together, and he realized they had been married during the life of Jesus Christ, and they had been very close to him. All right, last page. We can do this. Last page. At this time, their spirits could not be restrained any longer, and a long-awaited makeout session took place in the lobby. They connected that quickly? Ew. This was manifest in the mortal world to James and Elena throughout the scientific phenomenon as... I don't want to say it out loud. Ain't no way. This was manifest in the mortal world to James and Elena through the scientific phenomenon known as loin fire. As they talked, James had a burning desire to make love to her, but he wasn't sure she felt the same way. They could not stay away from each other. One time, she was sitting on the couch near his table. He took a seat of the chair about 5 feet away from her. She began to squirm and cover her body with hands. She asked him, "What are you doing?" He wasn't aware of what she meant. All he knew was that if Bruce Porter hadn't been giving them an evil eye, a child would have conceived on that couch. The erotic tension continued throughout the afternoon. James could only think of her. I hope Dennis is not here. He's probably wondering, like, what the fuck am I reading? Oh, God. Thankfully, she had worn 16 layers of clothing to survive the 80-degree weather, so he was not fully aware that she truly had the body of a goddess. Her dimensions were exactly what he had fantasized and found. That revelation would have to wait a month. As the night concluded, James needed to take his empty boxes to his car. Sure, they're empty. Yeah, right. You didn't sell all your books, you liar. With Elena's help, he had sold more books at a show than he had ever before. She had helped him carry the boxes to the car, and then he could not resist a desire to hug her. He made an awkward attempt that was way too brief because their friends were bringing more boxes. In that short embrace, though, he knew he had found the woman he had searched for his entire life. It was made crystal clear to him that they had been married before and would be again. He had once again had to fight off a powerful urge to kiss her and somehow disguise the massive erection he was experiencing. YouTube is going to come after me. They returned to the building and he helped carry tables to the second floor while he sat on the couch. He couldn't take his eyes off each other. They couldn't take their eyes off each other. He was already madly in love. Her group of friends finally had to leave. He was devastated, unused how he would ever contact her again. Then her spirit took over and asked him, "Can I get your cell number in case I have some questions?" They exchanged numbers. Then they gave each other a hug goodbye. It was the most wonderful, electric, delicious hug he had ever felt. And he watched her walk away, knowing she was truly going to change his life forever. End of chapter 1. Oh, hell no, there's more. Okay, we're not reading the rest. That was chapter 1. Oh my God, wait, how long is this? I thought this was only 4 pages. Chapter 2? There's more. I'll do a separate. Oh, wait, hold on. JJ. I feel he was aiming to hide out and then get to JJ. Wait, what is this? Oh, this is something else. Okay. Oh my God. This is basically their sex romance novel. I don't think I could read the rest of this. Let's go back to the trial. All right, guys, hit the dislike button. Quick, 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 quick. Okay, let's get back to this. So they don't read it in trial. Thank God. Save the jury.
Rory seemed to sort of at least match the timing of when they met.
They did.
Can we add that to the list of phrases for this trial? We got green chili chicken enchiladas. We got nonchalant. Now we got loin fire. Is loin fire like an LDS term or something? What the fuck is loin fire?
Were some of them more promiscuous?
Yes.
Did they also include conversations, though, about people like Adam and Brandon?
They did.
And about Ned?
Yes.
I currently book an approach with 229.
Loin fire. Oh, God. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, that sounds a little bit like STD territory, man. I don't know about that, Chad. You might want to get that checked out.
May the state will move to admit Exhibit 229.
Any objection?
Just relevance to the conspiracy, Your Honor.
All right, the proper foundation's been made. I will admit.
Objection, relevance to the conspiracy, Your Honor.
229?
229.
229 is admitted.
So we've talked about Adam and Brandon, correct?
Yes.
And so one of the first message, or the first message in this Exhibit 229 is from July 13th, so 2 days after Charles was shot and killed.
Yes.
And do we see, at this point, Chad is asking Lori, how did Adam and Brandon find out?
Correct.
And again, on the 13th at 9:51, we see Lori telling Chad, my mom, because she was so mad, she went off on Adam.
Correct.
And again, when we go back to Adam's testimony, did he indicate he learned Charles had died on the 13th
Correct.
and that he got in a fight with his mom?
Yes.
At that point, do we see then a message from Chad asking, did he have much to say in his defense?
Correct.
Sorry, I'm so distracted. No, you had to do eggplant fire emojis. All right, let me go back a little bit. Okay, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. All right, something about oh, Adam and mom getting in a fight. Okay, let's see.
And again, when we go back to Adam's testimony, did he indicate he learned Charles had died on the 13th
Correct.
and that he got in a fight with his mom?
Yes.
At that point, do we see then a message from Chad asking, did he have much to say in his defense?
Correct.
And Lori responds, he was very defensive and tried to justify everything, but my mom kicked him out and said she would never talk to him again. She's dramatic.
Yes.
So we had learned that Adam had been speaking with Charles and that he hadn't told his family about this intervention, right?
Correct.
And that after this, he said he lost basically all contact with his family.
Yes.
And this seems to sort of confer with that.
Correct.
Do we then see a switch over from talking about Lori's family to now Chad talking to Lori about being deeply, crazily, madly in love with Lily?
Yes.
Also, I learned that Raphael, aka Chad, is deeply, crazily, madly in love with Lily. He wants to vanish with her to another world. Oh, God.
And do we see, again, messages to and from Lori and Chad talking about sort of their love for each other?
Correct.
So prior to this, you really had not seen this open, obvious discussions about their relationship.
I had not.
As the time continued, did you continue to see, again, messages of love, as well as a lot of calls?
I did.
Although we won't read through everything here, is this sort of part of that story you're talking about of James and Elena starting in November?
Oh, I'm going to read it all
Part of
right.
that-
I'm nosy. Let me see. Hi, sweetheart. Can I call you in 5 minutes? Yes. I love you so much. You're my greatest desire, my best friend. Now on with the story. As November began, James and Elena had talked on the phone every day since last seeing each other. He was extremely impressed with her intelligence, personality, and subtle humor that made him laugh more than he had in his lifetime. She was a complete delight to talk to, and the highlight of his day was when he could hear her magical voice. It was so familiar to him, and it actually healed and soothed his heart and soul. Lori just wanted someone to worship her, okay? And then Chad was just probably just dumbfounded that someone like Lori would be attracted to him, I guess.
Although we won't read through everything here, is this sort of part of that story you're talking about of James and Elena starting in November?
Correct.
And is November when the Preparing the People
Something about them attending the same event in November, something about Jerusalem.
conference was here in Arizona of 2018?
Correct.
And we've heard testimony from witnesses that Chad Daybell was there.
Yes.
And you found actually a recording on the Lori for Style of Chad Daybell at the Preparing the People conference in November of 2018.
I did.
Preparing the People conference. Is that still a thing that they still do to this very day? I'm curious.
As we get to July
I've been clearing the Houston house. I removed the darkness he caused, and I have the vibration up to 200 light. What? That's amazing. Just like you. Thinking of you always, my love. You are wonderful. How are you? Miss you.
14th,
We're going to skip through this because I'm already reading through them. Oh, boy. I need to see you cheek to cheek. What kind of cheeks are we talking about here?
the cheek to cheek and loin to loin.
Yes.
Cheek to cheek, loin to loin. Why? Why do they keep talking about loins? Why? It's such a funny word. You were the fruit of my loins.
Again, more conversations both of love in text messages as well as phone calls.
Correct.
As we continue on the 14th, did Chad, let me ask you this, where was Chad Daybell living in July of 20?
Is cheek to cheek, loin to loin? Is that a like biblical reference or something? I've never heard anyone say those phrases before. Cheek to cheek, maybe, but like not cheek to cheek, loin to loin. He was hungry.
2019.
In Idaho.
I need so badly to just gently kiss you for hours. It would likely lead to other activities. Oh no, these are the ones that I read or that I read. Likely or luckily? It would luckily lead to nakedness. Awkward.
So Chad is living in
Did everything go so smoothly in the end hotel stay and getting the car returned? Wow, this is just 3 days after Charles was killed. Just 3 days. I guess I turned in the car, but I don't know what the police did at the hotel. Probably just left it. Oh gosh. Poor state prosecutor, man. Trina had to go through all these messages. By the time the conference arrived, oh, this is more of the James Elena shit. The hotel was a short distance away, gorgeous blue eyes. They hungered for each other. He leaned forward and fulfilled a promise he'd made to her a few days earlier. He gently kissed her tender lips, and the same heavenly electric filled his entire body. They pressed their loins against each other. The feeling was exquisite. Oh gosh. I wonder if the jury, when they deliberate, can they get these text messages and just like laugh at it together?
Do we see, again, a continuation of that story that Chad was writing to Lori Vallow?
You do.
Exquisite.
And that continues through most of this till apparently Chad needed a shower.
Correct.
Poor Charles. I know. Poor Charles.
Now, as we, again, continue through this,
Okay, she's just scrolling through. I love you, Elena. We have an amazing love story. Heading to bed and then heading to Lily. Can't wait to talk in the morning. You are fabulous. I don't know who's talking. Oh, this is from Bubby. Oh, this is from Charles. Not Charles. This is from Chad. Heading to bed, then heading to Lily. Can't wait to talk in the morning. You are fabulous. Definitely loving you throughout the night. Good morning, beautiful. Just finished talking to Mark. Getting ready now so I can talk and leave with you at 8:30 your time. I love you. Good morning. Can't wait. Can I call you in 5 minutes? Is she responding? Is this just him just like mass texting her? Oh gosh. Can I call you in 5 minutes? Sure. Oh, hold on a second. To from. Oh, okay. No, the twos and froms are. Okay, I'm getting confused. Who's writing this? Anyway, it's all cringe.
texts of love between these two.
I am, yes.
Here's a first donation towards the Lori Vallow got my video demonetized. Thank God it's almost over. WD, thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know, man. Some of these phrases, you know, the YouTube bot, they're gonna start picking it up and being like, what is Corky doing over there? Oh my God. Over there reading a fucking sex novel, man. Oh
Again,
boy. Thank
Going
you.
through the 17th, 16th, 17th, again, more affirmations of love, correct?
Yes.
Now, we know on the 15th of July is when Lori Vallow had called Banner Life Insurance to indicate that she was the beneficiary, right?
Correct.
And on the 18th is when she learned that she was not.
Correct.
So in Exhibit 229, do we see on July 18th at 12:18 Arizona time? So I talked to the insurance company. He changed it in March. So it was probably Ned before we got rid of him. They can't tell me to whom, of course, but it's done. I'll still get the $4,000 a month from Social Security.
Yes.
So on July 18th, after she talks with Banner Life Insurance, Lori tells Chad she's not getting the life insurance.
Correct.
But she tells him she's getting $4,000 a month from Social Security.
Correct.
Now, we know from Lori Vallow's text to Alex that she went to Social Security on August 12th, correct?
Yes.
And we also had testimony from Social Security about that.
Correct.
But here it is on July 18th of 2018, and she already knows she's going to get money from Social Security.
Correct.
Again, do you see a lot of additional, continuing, everyday, multiple affirmations of their relationship?
I do.
Can't stop thinking about how much I love you. Just wanted you to know, my adorable sweetheart. At the church for an hour or so, please let me know if you can talk. Getting dressed. We'll be in a car in 5, so call me then. Wonderful.
And this email, or this report, just went through the July 18th, where we have that message about the Social Security.
And Trina has a binder full of this. I wonder how thick this binder is. You think it's like a 4-inch binder?
Did those affirmations continue on after
Yes,
that?
they did.
So now that Charles is dead,
Kirsten.
there's a very open texting and calling relationship between Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell.
Yes.
Now, we had indicated that there were multiple contact names that were associated in the Lolly Time iCloud account to Chad Daybell.
Yes.
While you were looking at these text messages in the Lolly Time iCloud account, did you locate any for a contact name Melanie 2 with the number 2?
I did.
And in reviewing those messages, did you identify them as coming from Chad Daybell as well?
Yes, the number linked to that contact of Melanie 2 was for Chad Daybell.
Did you even see
The jury is probably trying so hard to not laugh out loud in court.
a message from Melanie 2?
Or maybe their souls have already left their bodies and they're inhabited by an evil spirit now. The jury's all full of Neds right now.
with an attached photo showing Chad Daybell?
Correct.
And were all those, not all of them, were there a substantial number of those messages between Melanie 2 and Lori Vallow the same sort of romantic discussions that you saw between contact name Bubby
Yes.
and Lori?
Yes.
When you were looking at the conversation between Chad Daybell as the Bubby contact, we saw a discussion about life insurance, correct?
Correct.
Did you also see a conversation between Lori and
Yeah. Before we got rid of him. Yep. Basically admitting it right there. I don't know why Kay didn't put more, or so not Kay. I don't know why Trina didn't put more emphasis on that, but maybe she feels like she didn't need to.
Melanie 2, AKA Chad, about life insurance?
I did.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 288 and of Chad Daybell and another individual.
Yes.
Was that some of the information used to verify that this Melanie 2 was in fact Chad Daybell?
It was.
And then in 230, is that some
Wait, what? Oh gosh. Why was Melanie 2 labeled for Chad Daybell?
of the SMS messages showing both that same romantic relationship as well as that conversation about the life insurance?
Correct.
State will move to admit 288 and 230.
To hide Chad's
objection?
identity?
Just the relevance, Your Honor.
288 and 230 are admitted.
A message, an MMS, 17th of 2019, from Melanie 2 contact name. And it said, I took a photo with Alan Osmond for Mark.
Correct.
Who's Alan Osmond?
And when we looked at the photo, did you ever learn what Chad Daybell looked like?
I do know what he looks like, yes.
Is that Chad Daybell?
Yes, it is.
I think we have the Peter Griffin outfit right now too. So the jury, now they finally know what Chad looks like. Chad, the man that Lori did all this for. I mean, mostly for herself, I would say, but for her and Chad.
So this is the person that she has been texting all the romantic love affirmations with right after Charles died.
Yes.
230, again, we see the same sort of romantic contact between them.
Correct.
And so this is, again, July 18th now, going on with another contact name for Chad Daybell in Lori's phone.
Yes.
And again, we see it's the Lolly Time iCloud account, right?
Correct.
Good morning, beautiful. Just grabbed my phone. Morning. Need to have a blessing later today if possible. No rush. I just got a letter from the insurance company saying that I'm not the beneficiary. It's a spear through my heart. Who do you think he changed it to? Question mark, question mark. Brandon or probably Kay. He left nothing for JJ. Yeah, right. You care about JJ.
When we get to July 18th, this one, though, is an earlier. For the Bubby one, we saw that it was a noon time message, right?
Right.
And so we learned that Lori received a email indicating she was not the beneficiary, and later she had a phone conversation.
Correct.
Does this one appear to be sort of the earlier one because it references, I just got the letter from the insurance company saying that I'm not the beneficiary. It's a spear through my heart. Who do you think he changed it to? Brandon or probably Kay? He left nothing for JJ.
Correct.
Did that conversation go on? Wow, that's terrible. There's no way to find out.
It did.
And did Lori then tell Chad, I might be able to see when I get his computer on Sunday, I could check the email sent to the insurance company. It will show change of beneficiary. He must have done it recently.
Correct.
So we had seen, in fact, photos what appeared to be from a computer that were sent to Chad Daybell, correct?
Correct.
Showing that beneficiary change.
Yes.
So does that seem to match with, again, what Lori is telling Chad here about finding out who got that money?
It does.
Does Chad then say, it seems you would have to agree to change, maybe the name was forged, you should have a good paper trail to prove it, right?
Correct.
So he's trying to help her figure out how to get that money. So you then go on to say, I love you, this is terrible. It's probably another step in bringing down, what is this?
Gaddy Anton.
Did you ever learn what that was?
I'm sure I researched it, but off the top of my head, I don't know what it is.
Look, it's a Gaddy Anton. Anyone in chat know Gaddy Anton? Is it another like LDS reference or something?
Did Lori then tell him, nope, he can change it anytime he wants. He's the agent, and anyone can change the beneficiary anytime with their own signature. I'm thinking it must be Kay.
Correct.
So she understood, at least to Chad, that Charles had that right.
Chuck?
Yes.
Does Chad then say, it will be interesting if he if it got changed after he had 2 bullets in his chest.
Wow.
Correct.
And she goes on to respond, I don't think it could have. You can't change it after the death date. They would review that.
Correct.
And then she goes on to say again, I'm thinking Kay as well. Or he says, I'm thinking Kay as well. She's probably freaking out that you got those computers. I'm going to shower and give you a blessing. I'm eager to get home so we can talk. It will be okay, my love. You are wonderful.
Correct.
And then she says, miss you so much. And he responds, miss you the most.
Yes.
So during this conversation, we see Chad and Lori discussing who this likely would have gone to and when it could have been changed, right?
Yes.
And that all occurred before the second conversation we see, also on the 18th, but closer to, I think, 12:30, 12:34, where she knows now it was changed in March.
Correct.
And in that, we see Chad referring to the 2 shots to the chest, right?
Yes.
So again, we know they've been talking about this. Did you see any other text messages talking about that?
I did not.
But we saw lots of phone calls between the 2 on the 11th.
Sure.
Now, as we have been talking through this conversation and much of this trial, we have referred to the defendant as Lori Vallow.
Correct.
And that's because she was married to Charles Vallow when he was shot on July 11th of 2019, right?
Yes.
During your review of those Lolly Time at iCloud accounts, did you find evidence of when she became Lori Daybell?
I did.
Did you see a contract for the wedding?
I did.
Did you see wedding photos?
I did.
Where was that wedding?
Hawaii.
Oh no, not the Hawaii wedding.
I can have my paralegal approach with 233.
Cheek to cheek, loin to loin.
Looking at Exhibit 233 is that
All right. In the Book of Mormon, Gaddy Anton refers to the leader of a secret combination of robbers, assassins, a criminal group that plagued the Nephite society. The name Gaddy Anton may be a metonymic or a symbolic epithet, possibly related to the Hebrew word for bands or bandit. So like Assassin's Creed. Night, Daniel.
the report as well as the actual document that was in the lollytime at iCloud.com account that you reviewed that the police obtained through a search warrant relating to when Lori Vallow became Lori Daybell.
Correct.
State will move to admit 233.
Any objection?
Relevance.
233 is admitted.
So the first part of this, we see that, again, it notes that this is an
I think objection relevance is just Lori's go-to. But she doesn't know how to use it, maybe?
Image that was from the account, from the
Someone give her a list of like other objections and other like reasons for it.
Lolly Tom iCloud account from 1031, correct?
That's the Google definition.
And then this is the actual photograph that was uploaded into the iCloud account, correct?
Correct.
So we see Chad Daybell and Lori Ryan. Was Lori Ryan a prior name of Lori Vallow?
Yes.
That was Tyler.
Wow, she dropped the Lori Vallow last name and then chose the husband before Charles, which was Lori Ryan. Wow.
Ryan's dad.
Correct.
So she used the Lori Ryan name in this. They use a home address of Rexburg, Idaho at that point.
Correct.
And then the date of the actual wedding is that.
Oh, I thought it said street Hawaii wedding. November 5th, 2019. Disgusting. Number of guests, 0. Yeah, they're losers.
November 5th of 2019.
Yes, it is.
So 4 months after Charles Vallow is shot and killed inside of the defendant's home, she has remarried to the man, Chad Daybell.
Yes.
I have no other questions for this witness.
Cross.
Here comes Lori. All right, let me get up and stretch really quick. Oh, God, my legs. Let me stretch my legs. Use the bathroom. Be back in a minute. The guest they portaled in. Oh, man. How is it not relevant? Shows what you thought of Charles and that you were having an affair, lots of motives. Because she doesn't know what she's doing. Oh, boy. Okay, so we're going to do, is this cross-examination? All right. Detective Duncan. Now I know why you didn't want to testify yesterday while you were like super sick. Because, you know, going through these text messages would have made it even more queasy. You're doing a good job, Detective Duncan. Doing a good job. He probably wants to throw up so bad right now. All right, cross-examination.
Detective Duncan, when did you become the case agent?
I believe it was June of 2020.
Okay. And prior to you being the case agent, it was Detective Moffat?
Moffat, yes.
Is that correct? And was it because he got promoted that they made you the case agent over this case?
Yes.
Or? Okay. And he's now a lieutenant, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And so he was the case, was there anyone in between? Was he the case agent the whole time until 2020 when you took over?
Correct.
Okay. And when you took over the case, what things did you do differently?
I wouldn't say differently. I continued what I was doing. I was looking at records for him. The records in this case, as you are aware, there's volumes of records. So continued to look at all of the independent iCloud records, call detail records, phone extractions, and also kind of reviewing what he had done prior to my assignment is what I'd done.
Right, so kind of reviewing and seeing what you need to look at?
Correct.
So is this, from what I was understanding what you were saying earlier, is this, you weren't really involved in the case since July 11th and now you're back involved in the case?
So July 11th, obviously, I was there at the house.
Right.
Shortly after that, I had another homicide and my time was occupied with that.
So this trial is conspiracy to commit murder of her husband at the time, Charles Vallow. And then 2 months from now, it's going to be conspiracy to commit murder. And that's going to be Brandon Boutreau, who is her niece's husband at the time.
And it was several months later that I offered to help look at records because they were so much. And I'd always done that kind of in the background,
Okay, we can slow
but
down.
never really took a deep dive into them until that June 2020.
Okay. But you were kind of involved, so you kind of knew what was going on in the investigation during
Somewhat.
that time, that year in between,
yeah.
before you became the case agent?
Correct.
But not totally deep dive, but you kind of knew what was going on.
I understood it.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. So let's go over that day again real quick. When you were there, what time were you there at the scene, from when to when?
I believe I arrived shortly after 9:15.
Okay.
And I would have left probably 4:30.
Okay. Were you at the house that whole time?
Yes.
So
Well,
you didn't-
Let me back up.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I did leave for a short period of time to obtain a saw that we would need to cut that piece of flooring out and the baseboard.
Okay.
But then it came back, yes.
So you were at the scene that whole time, besides the time you went to get the saw?
Correct.
You didn't go to the Chandler Police Department?
I have it at 1.2 right now. If you guys want it even slower, you guys can just you guys can control the speed of my stream as well.
No.
So you weren't there during our interviews?
No.
Okay. So, and you had mentioned something about you couldn't go in. I was confused. You couldn't go in until after the search warrant, but you were in before that, right?
No. So obviously your first responders, your police officers, the firefighters, they're going in to preserve life and treat the victim in this case. Then they back out. At that point, we will not let anybody in, given the circumstances of this case, until the search warrant is actually signed and executed. So we will wait outside the threshold of the house until that search warrant is signed, and then we will begin our investigation.
So I'm still confused. So you didn't go into the house until after the search warrant, or you did get to go in beforehand?
No, I didn't go in before. I waited until after the search warrant.
Okay. So you had testified. I'm still confused, sorry.
I'm going to object again to the defendant testifying.
Just
Shut
ask the
up.
question.
You had also indicated that you had gone in and that Charles was on the floor. Is that correct?
I think the question was asked of me is, what did I see when I went in? And so that, and I would say after the search warrant we went in, that's what I saw.
But he was already gone in the ambulance at that point?
He never went in an ambulance.
Charles didn't go in the ambulance?
No, he went with the
No.
medical examiner's office.
Does she not realize the ambulance takes you to a hospital? Why would you be in an ambulance if you're already dead? Especially if you waited 47 minutes to call 911. Lori!
So what time did he leave?
I can't give you a specific time on that. I have to look at the medical examiner's office information for that.
But it was after you entered at 11:50?
Yes, it was way after that.
Okay. So then when you entered, what did you do at that point? Can you kind of walk me through that?
Yeah, so when I entered, obviously I made my general observations about what I saw in that room and of the body, and then talked with Detective Coons about what needed to be done next.
And what did you guys do next?
So we came up with a game plan as far as how to process the scene, which direction, who was going to do what. Like I indicated, I was tasked with collecting that firearm, and was also tasked with kind of looking through the house for any kind of blood evidence that might be present. The other task that I had, when we were ready, I contacted the medical examiner's office to report the death to them.
What time about was that call, do you think?
I do not know.
But sometime in between that, before 4:30, is that correct?
Correct.
And did everyone leave the scene at 4:30? Is that kind of the timing when people were clearing out, or?
Yeah, some might have stayed behind, and a lot of our ID techs like to sit in their cars and type their notes, that type of thing. But right around that 4:30, 4:45 is when the search warrant was completed.
Okay. And then there had been a walkthrough, is that correct?
Yes.
And so Alex had come back to the house just after 3-ish?
I believe that could have been the time, yes.
Okay. And then were you present during the walkthrough?
I was.
And who else was present?
Detective Moffitt, Detective Werther, Detective Coons, myself, and I want to say crime scene technician Jordan might have been there as well.
Okay. And was it Jordan that was wearing a body cam? Was there a body cam made of that?
No, I believe that Detective Werther had a body cam, but it malfunctioned and didn't capture.
So there's no recording of that at all?
No.
And Detective Moffat was the case agent at that point, right? Because he had been assigned that already?
Yes.
Okay. And so did each of you write reports on that walkthrough then, since there was no recording of it?
That would have all been included in our report, not a specific walkthrough report, but in our original narrative, yes.
Everyone would talk about it, mention it, with their perspective?
Not everybody has to, as long as somebody or one or two people wrote about it to know that it happened. Yeah.
Right. So since there's no recording of it, though, someone is assigned, like, because Moffat is the case agent, or who would do that? Be assigned to include it in the report, for sure?
It's different. I'll give you the example. If you look at probably my report compared to Detective Kuhn's report, you might notice, similarities in there. You might notice stuff that I went into more detail on, or he went into more detail. But it depends on whether they write it or not. They could just put something as simple, I was present during a walkthrough.
Okay. So since you became the case agent, have you read all the reports?
At one time or another, yes, I have.
So is there anyone specific that kind of ran through what happened at the walkthrough?
Your Honor, I object to asked and answered and relevance. And hearsay.
Sustained as to asked and answered.
Did you write about it in your report?
I'm going to object again to relevance, hearsay, asked and answered.
Sustained as asked and answered. He already answered that.
You mentioned that it was Detective Werther who had the body cam, is that correct?
Again, asked and answered.
So
Sustained.
did you read his report?
I have read his report, yes.
Did he mention the walkthrough and what happened?
And I'm going to object again to relevance, hearsay, and asked and answered.
Break
To the
time?
extent that it would call for a hearsay answer, I'll sustain the objection.
Lawrence for Lori.
Kind of aware, so you knew what had been done in the investigation, is that correct?
Yes.
And so you knew who had been interviewed, is that correct?
Yes.
And you knew what had been tested or not tested at that point?
Correct.
So the bat was tested for fingerprints, we learned that in the testimony, is that correct?
Correct.
And the results were inconclusive,
Correct.
and so there were no latent prints were identified, that's correct?
Correct.
And there were prints, but we just don't know whose they were, is that accurate?
Sounds about right, yes.
Now, we learned that the bat was swabbed for DNA and sent to the lab, is that correct?
Yes.
And was that ever tested?
No, it was not.
And why not?
When making this decision, you have to look at the probative value of that and what that would show or what a test would prove. DNA and fingerprints are not time-specific. That bat was owned by Tylee, to our knowledge. It was in a household where you lived. It was in a household where Alex was. And at one point, based on the fact of when we understood the bat to have been purchased, Charles was living in the house as well. So that bat was accessible to all those people. So if at one point during that time that person touched that bat, all that it would be saying is that somebody touched that bat at some point, not during this incident.
Right. But would that be able to be told from DNA?
There was nothing that was visible that could see, like if blood dries or anything like that. There was nothing that would indicate that here's a spot we need to test for that particular, for blood.
Right, but would DNA tell if there was blood? Could they find out if there was blood on the bat from the DNA test?
Once again, blood is, you would see if it dries and crusts, then you would see that particular blood. DNA comes in many forms. It can come in touch, it can come in sweat, blood, but you would think that blood would be visible at that point to be able to test. And we did
Yeah.
not see anything like that.
It looked red, brown.
Okay, so if there was none of Alex's DNA on the blood, wouldn't that tell us something? I mean, on the bat at all, then wouldn't that tell us something?
If there were none of Alex's, it would just mean that Alex never touched that bat at any time.
And wouldn't it tell us that Alex was never hit in the head with that bat?
Once again, it's not specific. I can't, if there was blood on the bat, then yes, we would test for that. But there's no visible blood on the bat.
Wait, did she just like disprove her case that Alex indeed was never hit with that bat in the head? Did she just fuck herself over?
I understand that, but when you're doing an investigation, are you not trying to figure out what happened?
Yes, and that's what we
Don't
did.
you want all the information to do that?
Yes.
And so whose responsibility would it be to request the DNA testing from the swab that was taken?
Once again, that would just show, it's not showing that it's blood. There's no blood on the bat. It was just showing that a DNA swab was taken of that particular area to be able to test later on. But there's no discoloration that would show any kind of blood.
And who in the Chandler Police Department would be requesting that DNA to be tested? Who would have to do that?
That'd be me.
It would be you.
As the new case agent, that would be me, or Detective Moffat at the beginning.
And so Detective Moffat never did that, is that correct?
Correct.
And you never did that, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh,
So if Charles' DNA was on the bat, then wouldn't that tell us something also?
Did he touch the bat at some point?
Yeah, that he took it from Tylee, like she said in her interview.
And I'm going to object and move to
Sustained.
strike that.
The jury should disregard that last question. That information is not in evidence.
Detective, wouldn't that have answered some questions for us in your investigation?
I don't think it would have, no.
Okay. We learned that the gun in testimony, that the gun was tested just last month, is that correct?
Correct.
And who requested
The gun in testimony. The gun in evidence?
that test?
I did.
And why did you request that test?
So on firearms, immediately after we have a firearm case, we have the ability to utilize a system called NIBIN. NIBIN is run through the ATF, and what NIBIN will do is we can fire a particular firearm that we have control over and obtain casings from those. We could then take the casings from the scene casings and then compare those together. We already knew that that gun fired those casings very early in the investigation, as a NIBIN report provided. However, ATF will not testify in court. So playing the balancing game of when a trial will begin and whether a trial will even happen, I do not like to make more work for a firearm analyst than I have to. So when we know that we are in and going to trial, then I will send that over to them because they were the ones that will testify to that.
Okay. So it wasn't after my investigator suggested that none of the guns had been tested
No,
that you
no.
ordered that test?
I never spoke to your investigator about that either.
Okay. So, Detective, when did the Chandler Police Department take possession of the gun?
On July 11th?
And then it was tested in March, is that correct?
Correct.
And then we've established through expert testimony of Detective Coons that the floorboard was not tested either, is that correct?
Correct.
And he also established that the projectile was not tested either, is that correct?
Correct.
And Detective Coons also confirmed that no tests were done on my husband's shirt, is that correct?
Correct.
And then when you became the case agent on this case, why didn't you request any of these tests?
Because I was confident that based on the medical examiner's report of an entry wound to the lower left quadrant, an exit wound to the upper left rear shoulder, and a corresponding defect, or what I would refer to as a bullet strike in the floor, if you take those 3 points and match them up, then there's no other explanation other than Charles was laying on the ground at that time.
So the medical examiner said he could not say that he was laying on the ground for sure, but you're saying that in your detective opinion, you know that for sure?
I believe so, yes.
And so were you there to witness it with your eyes?
No.
Detective, to your knowledge, did my brother and my daughter and myself willingly comply with everything asked of us by law enforcement on July 11th, 2019?
I can't speak to that, no.
Did we answer all the questions asked to us?
I have nothing to say you didn't.
Did we follow all directions given to us by law enforcement that day?
I'm going to object to speculation and foundation as to how this detective knows that. He's already said he wasn't at the station.
He's the case agent, Your Honor.
He can testify to what he observed for himself, so if you want to tailor your question, go ahead.
This judge is so over her.
Would you say that according to every report and every detective that you've talked to and anything else, that you would say that we fully complied with law enforcement that day on July 11th, 2019?
Object to hearsay.
I'm going to sustain the objection to the form that it was asked.
So according to all the reports that have been given by everyone who was there, and you're the case agent, so you're in charge of all of these people, is that correct?
I'm not in charge of them, but I have read the reports.
So you have read the reports,
Yeah.
and as far as you know, to your knowledge, we fully cooperated with law enforcement that day on July 11th, 2019?
And again, object to hearsay. And lack of personal knowledge.
Okay.
Sustained.
Has it come to your knowledge that we did not comply with everything?
And I would object to the exact same thing, lack of personal knowledge and hearsay.
He can answer that question.
Can you ask that again?
Have you come to the knowledge that we did not comply that day for any reason?
I have not.
Okay. Did I turn my husband's phone over when asked?
Yes.
Did Alex turn his phone over willingly?
I am not sure when Alex, or if Alex turned his phone on. I'm not aware of that.
Okay. So is there a body cam where his phone was placed into an evidence bag? That's correct.
I do remember seeing that, yes.
And then the evidence bag is put into the front of the police car where he was taken to the Chandler Police Department. Is that correct?
I didn't see that, but I trust the fact that it was taken at that time, yes.
And so according to that body cam, it looked like he turned it over on request.
And I'm going to object to speculation.
You don't have any knowledge that he didn't. Is that correct?
Honestly, I would say I think Sarah Boone's baby voice is more annoying because she does it throughout. Lori Vallow would change it up depending on who she's talking to or depending on what she wants, I guess. But I would say Sarah Boone, if she was doing the if she represented herself and had to do like these cross examinations and stuff like that, like, oh my God, listening to her voice would have been way more horrific.
I'll allow that last question.
I don't have knowledge, no.
Okay. So do you know who had taken possession of his phone at that point?
I don't.
Do you know who drove him to the Chandler Police Department?
Well, through this hearing, Officer Krautheim.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh, no giggle.
The one I
Krautheim?
couldn't remember how to spell. I mean,
Again, yeah.
Sustained, please don't testify.
She couldn't resist. She couldn't resist.
was a copy of Alex's phone made by the Chandler Police Department?
I don't know.
You don't know?
There's so much information. I don't know whether we received his call detail records or an actual copy was made. I don't know.
So you're the case agent.
Yeah, I'd have to look and see if that was the case.
So you're the case agent, and you don't know if the person who shot my husband's phone was ever...
Yeah. At this moment, I don't recall.
Ooh, condescending.
So there's no Cellbrite of it. Is that correct? In the discovery?
I think the only thing that we have is his call detail records, which would be from his cellular provider.
So what would the typical protocol be for you to, if someone handed over their phone, wouldn't it be to do a digital download of it?
So that can be one of two ways. It could be under a search warrant to do that, or it can be under consent to do that. I do not believe I don't believe that his phone was extracted at that time.
So he would have to give consent? Is that what you're saying?
Or a search warrant, but that would have been through Detective Moffat.
So Detective Moffat would have had to get a search warrant and then he would download it?
Based on their conversation, whether Alex would be willing to do that or whether a search warrant was needed, but that was Detective Moffat's call at that time.
And he decided not to do that?
I don't know what his process is, or his thought process.
Well, I'm saying that he did not do that, and you're the case agent now, so you would know if that was done, correct?
You're asking me to speak for Detective Moffat, whether it was done or not?
No, I'm asking you to speak as a case agent now if you know if it was done or not.
I believe it was not.
Okay. Do you think that would be important to your investigation?
Absolutely, knowing what we know now, yes.
Okay, you're a detective, right?
Correct.
You have to look at all the angles, right?
Correct.
You don't know what happened, right? You just stated that you weren't there, right?
Correct.
So wouldn't that be crucial information that the police department didn't bother to take?
Once again, I don't know what the conversation with Detective Moffat and Alex was and what his reasoning for not. Would I have taken it? Yes.
But that was not your call at the time.
Correct.
And so in lieu of that, what did you do to try to obtain that information?
We got his is
And so is Is it safe to say that it's much better to have the actual phone to do the extraction so that you can have everything that was on the phone?
Yeah, but you can also obtain a lot of that stuff through other means, through iCloud records.
I wonder what Alex did for the 45 minutes while Charles lay there dying. Someone says, where did I see it? I missed it. Oh, try to work up the nerve to hit himself in the head. Probably.
Records, Google records. But yeah, it is nice to have that phone.
So would you call that an oversight by Detective Moffett?
Object to speculation.
Sustained.
So
Oh, actually, I don't know if Sarah Boone would have. Yeah, I don't know. Lori has had an advantage with the legal aid, so paralegal assist assigned to her. Boone would have had that. Yeah, I don't know about if Sarah Boone would have had that. Maybe not, because she lost access to having like a real attorney represent her at some point, or lost the privilege.
was the phone then returned to Alex that day?
Yes,
How did that happen? Was it just handed to him or?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And that would have also been Detective Moffat's call.
Correct.
And we haven't heard from Detective Moffett, is that correct?
Correct.
So according to your knowledge, that when Alex was called by Chandler Police to return to the scene for the walkthrough by detectives, he did so, is that correct?
Yes, he did.
You saw him there? And did he answer everyone's questions while you were there, that you observed?
Yes, he did. There was very little questioning. It was just more of a positional type thing. It was, where were you?
It was more, I'm sorry, I missed that last part.
Where was he? Where was he standing during the time?
Oh. And so he kind of walked it through with you, and all four of you were there, right?
Yes.
5. And no one was asking him any questions?
Your Honor, I'm going to, again, we've already gone through this before, asked and answered, as well as verging
Oh, really? Did Joe Ryan, his cause of death was also the, was it the pulmonary embolism thing as well?
on hearsay.
I'm going to sustain the objection. How much do you have left on your cross, you would think?
I don't know, Your Honor, a lot.
In other words, more than a couple minutes. Should we take our afternoon break?
Oh, yes, we should
right.
take a break.
Let's take our afternoon.
I love that anytime the judge talks to Lori, he like never looks at her directly. All right, they take their afternoon break.
A lot of people.
All right, we're back.
Detective Duncan, in all those text messages, we saw a lot of people. Did you interview our mother, Janice Cox?
I did not.
Did you read or watch her interview?
I have not.
Did you interview our sister, Summer Shiflett?
I did not.
Did you read or watch her interview?
No.
They were interviewed?
Did you interview our father, Barry Cox?
No.
Did you read or watch his interview?
No.
So the only
Judge is reading chat right now. Behave, y'all.
source that you have for this investigation of the shooter in your case is through our brother Adam? Is that correct?
And all of the contacts mentioned through your iClouds.
Yeah, but you didn't ask anybody who was mentioned in there or who was speaking in there what they meant by any of those text messages?
Well, none of the people that you mentioned were present during this incident. So you're asking about the actual date of July 11th, if I asked them about that day, or about the text messages?
About the text messages themselves. Like, did you ask my mother what she meant in that text message when she wrote it?
No.
Did you ask my sister what she meant in those text messages?
No.
Did you ask Melanie, my niece, what she meant in those text messages?
No.
Did you ask me what I meant in those text messages?
I couldn't.
Okay.
I couldn't.
And through your investigation, you found out that, as you testified earlier, that Alex wouldn't text or call Adam back. Is that correct?
I'm not interpreting as far as he wouldn't do it. What I'm saying is I don't see it. So if there's a message there and there's a text, there's no indication that there was a callback or a text back.
So it looked like that he wasn't calling him or texting him back, even though he was getting calls and texts. Is that correct?
And then Adam also testified that he did not receive a call or a text back,
So
which would be consistent with the records.
So the only person in our family, in our whole family, that you got information from was the estranged brother from our family who didn't know what was going on with everybody else.
I object to the form of the question. Argumentative.
Well, it's also compound. I'll sustain the objection.
Okay, so Adam, our estranged brother, is the only one that you got information from. Is that correct?
And I object to the form of the question.
Sustained.
So is this your normal protocol to just talk to one witness and not all the others?
No.
Why didn't you speak to any other member of my family?
A lot of members of the family have been spoken to.
But you were not privy to any of that information as the case agent?
Well, I was privy to the interviews that were conducted by other detectives.
And you just testified to me that you didn't read or watch any of those interviews. Is that correct?
I have been present during an interview.
I mean, Lori can sound condescending and combative as much as she wants, but I don't know if this is really landing for the jury because him not talking to other members of the family hasn't really been an issue that was brought up in a different testimony. So I don't know. I feel like the jury's just like, they're probably just like listening to this, like, okay, where are we going with this? I don't know. Maybe we'll segue to when she has her witnesses on the stand, if she even has any.
A phone call with Summer, and been present during a phone call in this process, but I have never interviewed them.
How many interviews has Summer had with the police departments?
Objection, speculation?
If you know.
He can answer if he knows.
I don't know.
More than one or two?
I don't know.
Okay, but you knew of at least one?
That Summer has had?
Correct.
Yes.
But you didn't ask her any of these questions or any of the questions about the text messages that you just talked about that were on the screen with Summer?
I said no.
Okay.
Wait a second. Oh, spoilers. Okay, I won't say anything.
So as the case agent and a detective, do you form a suspicion and then stick to it and only investigate the things that lead you to that same conclusion?
No.
You had testified earlier about the story of Nephi, is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that you researched it, is that
did.
correct? What research did you do?
Well, the very basic research. I Googled who is Nephi, what does Nephi stand for. I've also, through this process over the last 4 or 5 years, have asked other members of the church just a simple question, tell me about Nephi. And every single person I talk to tells me that same story that was told by Adam.
So are you aware that there's 15 books in the Book of Mormon?
I am not.
Oh boy.
Are you aware that 4 of those books are books of Nephi?
I am not.
Oh boy.
That there's Nephi 1, 1st Nephi, 2nd Nephi, 3rd Nephi, 4th Nephi?
No, I'm not.
Oh boy.
Okay. That there's many stories of Nephi. Is that correct? Or you don't know?
I don't know.
So the very first story is the story that,
And I'm going to object to testifying.
It sounds like that's the way it was going. So please just ask questions.
so you did not read the Book of Mormon?
No.
You did not read 1st Nephi?
No.
You just asked people? That was your research?
I asked members of that particular church, and I also did an internet search, yes.
So you did an internet search, and it gave you all the stories of Nephi?
That's the story that came up.
So how long did you do that research for?
I couldn't tell you.
So in your research, did you discover that there's about 25 stories of Nephi in that Book of Mormon?
I didn't see that, no.
And that there's 4 different prophets that are called Nephi in the Book of Mormon?
I'm going to again object as
Here
to
we go.
testifying, and the detective has already indicated, so asked and answered.
I'll overrule the objection. He can ask if he knows that or not.
What was the question, sorry?
I'm sorry, I can't remember. Can the court reporter?
There's 4 different people referred to as Nephi.
Yeah, 4 different prophets in the Book of Mormon that are Nephi. Are you aware of that?
No.
Okay. So isn't it true that you really have no idea what I was referring to when I referenced Nephi in my text message?
I can only go off of what I see. I can't tell you what you're thinking or what you're trying to relay there. But based on my knowledge and based on talking to people about who is Nephi, that is a story that came up consistently.
You relayed to the jury that it was in order to kill. You relayed to the jury.
I said that the story was the same story and similar to Adam told.
Okay, and you said it earlier that that was an order to kill. That I referenced Nephi. I will be like Nephi and you will be like Nephi. To the jury here today.
Ask a question. That's a statement, not a question.
Do you have knowledge that my text message meant that at all?
No.
Are you aware through all of your investigation of this case that my brother was a stand-up comedian, Alex?
I had heard that, yes.
And that everything is a joke to Alex?
I can't speak for that.
So when you're interpreting all these text messages and making all these assumptions, half of them could be jokes and you would not know that?
What? Just because he's a stand-up comedian? Oh my goodness. If you see the screen randomly freeze for a second, I'm just taking screenshots because I'm processing my Amazon return while I'm listening to fucking Lori. Hello. Oh my gosh. Okay, Lori.
Text messages and making all these assumptions.
Speak for that.
So when you're interpreting all these text messages and making all these assumptions, half of them could be jokes and you would not know that?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Were you speculating when you read my text messages?
I think I'm just reading your text messages. I don't think I was drawing any inference from them. I was just simply reading them.
Well, today you were explaining them to the jury. Is that true?
Those were read. There was no explanation as to what it meant.
Yeah, weren't you paying attention? This man over here trying to hold it together because he's feeling sick on the stand. The stand prosecutor was just reading them. Oh gosh. Just testify, Lori. Just fucking testify. You know you want to. Do it.
As the case agent, what is your communication with the other investigators in this case?
What do you mean by other investigators?
So who is on your team? Who is working for you on this case right now?
I'm the only person working on the case right now. Back in the, when we were investigating it, would have been myself and Detective Coons. And then periodically we'd have Detective Werther do some work for us if we needed it.
And then do you guys communicate through emails or calls or text messages, or how does that work?
Well, unfortunately, we're cramped in a small little area, so we have the ability to just talk to each other.
So no reports are really made of that communication, you're just talking?
Correct.
And being a detective, is your job basically to be an investigator and search out facts concerning what happened?
Yes,
Do you feel like you've done that in this case?
I do.
So by not testing any of those things, you feel like you've done everything you could possibly do to tell the jury and to tell us what happened that day on July 11th, even though you weren't present?
Correct.
You're confident in that?
I'm competent.
Yeah, you don't need to be there. We've got evidence. He doesn't need to be there.
Did you have to meet with Detective Moffat to review the case when you made this transfer?
No.
So he didn't give you any heads up on what was happening?
Well, before he left, he just dropped the case notebook on my desk and then went on his way. We have
So-
had conversations before then and since, but nothing in detail.
So you didn't say what's been tested or what hasn't been tested
No, that's for me to go back through and look at.
through reports?
Correct.
Okay. So did you think it was important to maybe luminol the bat?
Once again, there was no visual blood present on the bat, and we decided that we were not going to do that particular process.
So can't blood be invisible and still be on the bat if you luminol it?
I guess if it's cleaned off, it would still maybe show some proteins, but that was something we decided not to do. We fingerprinted it to show, because there was indication that Charles had grabbed it from Tylee. So we did our best evidence to try to grab that location where it would have been grabbed, but that's what we did.
Wouldn't that be important to your investigation?
Objection as to wouldn't what?
Yeah, please.
Wouldn't luminoling the bat be important to this investigation, this particular investigation?
I don't believe it would.
What about luminoling the gun? Was that done?
The what?
Once again, there's no visible, and we were under the impression that it happened 5 minutes before we got there, and there's no visible presence of blood on the bat.
Well, you went around the whole entire house looking for blood, is that correct?
Yes,
And you had the gun in your possession?
yes.
And you're in a police station?
I was at your house.
I'm saying you have access as the case agent to have any of these things tested, is that not right?
Yes,
So why didn't you test them?
because I did not think that luminol was needed to be tested because there was no visual blood.
So wouldn't you like to know that for sure?
They're not going to waste money and start testing everything in their possession just to test it just for the sake of testing it, you know?
I guess we make choices and we make decisions through this process based on the facts that we have and the facts that are presented to us. And based on the facts presented to us and what we saw and what we had, I did not feel that was necessary.
You have charged me with a crime. Is that correct?
I have not, no.
You have helped them charge me with a crime. Is that correct? The state of Arizona?
I conducted an investigation and I've sent it forward, yes.
And you did not feel it was necessary to test any of these things?
Objection, Your
As the
Honor.
case
Asked and
agent.
answered like 4 times.
Sustained.
Go Trina. Go Trina.
What logical reason do you have as an investigator to not investigate all of these things that were available to you for the past 5 years?
Your Honor, I'm again going to object to asked and answered. If there's a specific thing that hasn't been asked,
That's a really very broad question. I'll sustain the objection. Yeah.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Redirect.
Ineffective counsel. All right, Trina, show them how it's done.
Detective, I'm going to start by just talking to you a little bit about luminol. Is luminol a process used where you believe a scene has been cleaned up, like somebody actually attempted to remove blood from the scene, and so it's been diluted?
Correct, and it would show the remaining proteins left, yes.
And so luminol is used when there is no visible blood because the scene's cleaned.
Correct.
And so in this case, you were under the impression that this homicide had occurred 5 minutes before police arrived?
Yes,
So you would not be expecting a cleaned up scene,
correct.
but you did look to see if you
Do they have a picture of Alex's wound? We saw a little bit of it on the body cam. I don't know if they showed it to. They probably took pictures of the station and showed it to the jury, but we didn't get to see them.
saw visible blood.
We did, yes,
And by visible blood, you're talking about drops of blood that might be there,
correct,
swipes of blood that might be there,
correct,
hairs from someone's head that might be stuck in the bat.
yes.
And did you see any of that?
No, we did not.
Now, after this, did you learn that there was actually this 47-minute process?
We did,
So when you're processing the scene that day, you were not aware yet of how extensive this timeline was incorrect.
correct,
In fact, we heard from Detective Werther that it was sort of the next day as he started going through the phone from Charles,
yes,
and the day after that as he's going to get videos from Burger King and Walgreens, that you're learning that this timeline is very wrong.
correct.
I want to talk about the data that you have reviewed in this case. When you talk about what was reviewed, whether by you, well, let's just say by you. In these iCloud accounts, are you talking terabytes of data?
Yes, each iCloud account can have terabytes of data, and you have to, and it's tedious because you can only look at one at the time. We can only look at one particular iCloud at a time and go through that and make notes. Then you'd have to shut down, open up another, and look through one iCloud at a time, and then try to, with your notes, to match these together. So it was a very labor-intensive process.
And as you're looking through this, are you then learning more things that then makes you have to go back to the other iCloud account to try to see what you could find in that?
Absolutely.
So when we come in here with just a few documents and a few things, would it be fair to say that's just a grain of what you've gone through?
Absolutely.
So on July 11th of 2019, when you arrive at this scene, you think this homicide just occurred, did you understand at that time the relevance of cell phone or iCloud data?
No, well, it's something that happened, what sounded like it was a rather quick incident. It just happened 5 minutes ago. I wouldn't think of the necessity for cell phone data, like to show planning or anything like that, or show conversations over the weeks and months. Sometimes we get cases where, oh, this person's had beef with me forever. Obviously, I am going to want to take that phone and go look through that. But in this case, we just had something reported to us that happened just 5 minutes and very limited information, as it was almost an impromptu attack. We had no information at the time that this is something that had weeks, if not months, of planning.
On July 11th of 2019, did you start to see inconsistencies between the statements that were being given, the timeline, and the physical evidence at the scene? Did you start to see some inconsistencies?
Yes.
For instance, you were provided with a self-defense theory. Did you see inconsistencies between that statement and what you're seeing at the scene.
Yes.
And that's where we're talking about the location of the bullet wounds to Charles, the bullet strike under his left shoulder, and the bullet being by his left shoulder for one of those shots.
Correct.
But again, you're still not aware of the background of these individuals.
Correct.
As you began learning more information about the interaction between Charles and Lori Vallow and learned about the individuals, were you then able to obtain information to allow you to write search warrants to even obtain phone records and iCloud accounts?
Yes.
So that's not just something you can be like, hey, I just want that, so I'm just going to ask iCloud for it, and I'll just hand that right over?
Correct. You have to have probable cause in order to get that.
You were asked about DNA and blood, and I think you had said something about it. Is DNA only found in blood?
No.
So saliva can have it,
Correct.
sweat.
Correct.
So when you're asked about blood on the bat, that isn't the only form of DNA that would be left on there potentially.
Correct.
So if you had information that the bat belonged to Tylee, no matter what, you would expect to find her DNA on it.
I would.
Not, regardless of whether she ever bled on it, right?
Correct.
Was blood something different you were looking for, though?
It was.
And was that due to the fact that there's this allegation that Alex Cox was hit in the head with a bat?
Yes.
And so we have the bat here. You looked at it yourself, did not see visible blood,
It did not.
and we have someone else who processed it and didn't see visible blood on it.
Correct.
Even on the edge top of it, do you see any sort of damage to that plastic around the tip of it?
I do not.
If you had processed that bat for DNA and you found Tylee's DNA on that, would you have told you that she put it on there on July 11th? Did they ticky mark that for you?
It would not.
Would just say it was on there, right?
Correct.
Are you able to time that in any way?
No.
When the medical examiner comes out, the medical examiner's office comes out to the scene to collect the body. Body doesn't leave in an ambulance, right?
No, it is not.
They have a van.
Yes.
And does
Oh, apparently there's a Nicole Kessinger spotting. I don't know. The internet thinks they found her at a funeral or something.
the doctor who's performing the autopsy come out there with you guys and
No,
check
he does,
out the scene?
He does not.
So when a medical examiner testifies as to a wound being shored, but not knowing what it was against, he's not out at the scene looking at the body, right?
Correct.
He's not out at the scene looking at the projectile defect or on the ground underneath Charles's left shoulder.
Correct.
He's just saying that wound is shored. Whatever he was against is what it was.
Correct.
But you were at the scene,
I was.
and you saw the shoulder in line with that defect on that ground or on that floor that you collected.
Correct.
Now, did you ever have any information that Janice Cox or Barry Cox or Summer Shiflett were present at 5531 South, Four Peaks on July 11th?
We did not.
In fact, it appeared that Summer was actually going out of town, so she wasn't going to be around on the 11th?
Correct.
Now, you had mentioned that you were present when Summer and Janice were interviewed. Was that when the state interviewed them when they were listed as witnesses potentially for the defendant?
That is correct.
And in fact, did you recall Summer being asked about her offering her house to the defendant to stay at,
I do.
what we had seen in the text message?
Correct.
Was there anything about that statement that appeared to be untrue based upon your hearing or participating in that?
There's nothing.
In these text messages and iCloud account records, start with Ned. When you first started seeing those, were you understanding the full story of where that came about?
No.
Did you then have to look to other people who, like Serena Sharp or Christina Atwood or others, who were aware of who Ned was?
Correct.
Or what Ned was?
Yes.
In terms of Nephi, you said that we heard from Adam when he's asked about Nephi what that meant to him.
Correct.
He provided us with a story of Nephi and Laban, right?
Correct.
You said you Googled this like many of us do, right? Start out there.
Right.
And then you actually
I heard about that recently. Nicole Kessinger should be in prison, in my opinion. Her phone pinged at the Watts house that morning. I'll never get over it. I heard about that. I don't know. I was hoping there would be like a YouTube video out there that does like a whole deep dive about Nicole Kessinger. That'd be interesting.
spoke to other members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I did.
Was that to make sure that you weren't missing something?
It was to make sure that there wasn't another story that might be out there that he's known for. And so, like I said, I would just randomly ask people that. And every single time I would ask that, that was the story that was told to me.
So others who were members of that church spoke the same way that Adam did.
Yes.
You're asked a lot about sort of processing of the scene and processing of the items of evidence.
Oh, Annie and Elise did? Okay, cool. To check it out.
Was this case, let me ask you this, was the physical scene itself inconsistent with,
Oh, wait, was she, maybe I watched her video. Was it the one, somebody said they like superimposed a photo of like Nicole Kessinger on the one on the funeral. That might have been her, maybe. I might have watched that one.
what was initially told to?
Yes.
And did it require additional research into all of these different iClouds, cell phones, cell tower records to clarify what happened?
Yes, as the weeks and
The worst thing I could imagine a demon named Ned doing is hanging the toilet paper under instead of over. You know, when I go to the restrooms and if it's under, I fix it. Like when I go to people's houses, I fix it.
months went on, additional information was learned that basically required those accounts to better understand what took place.
And was that what then you spent months going through?
Right.
And ultimately, after all of that, is when you eventually presented that case or turned it in to be reviewed.
Yes, I did.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
All right, are there any questions for this witness from any member of the jury? I see at least one.
Ooh, one question. What are they going to ask? Do they think Nicole Kessinger was the real killer? No, I don't think so. But they believe that she knew a lot more than she led. She knew much more than she... What's the phrase I'm trying to say? Than she let on. Yeah, she knew much more than she let on. Possibly, maybe she told him to do it. I don't know. All right, jury question. Is it going to be a juicy one? Are they going to ask it? I don't see anyone tweeting about the jury question, so maybe they don't ask it. You definitely believe that she conspired with Chris? But it's so weird, though. If there's no life insurance payout, is it just kill your family so you don't have to pay alimony and child support? Couldn't you just disappear to a different country or something? Oh, hi, Bubs. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. Shiro's in here. He's on his little fluffy thing. I don't know if you can see him. Can you see him? Oh, there he is. He's right there. You see those little leggies? Little chicken tendies. In his little ear. One ear. Shiro. Shiro? Shiro. I was going to see if he's going to move his ear. All right, we're waiting for the jury question. They're having a discussion right now. The guy was a moron. Aren't they all? Aren't they all? Because didn't he try to bury the bodies at his job work site?
Well, I think we're going to need that exhibit. Go ahead. We'll see if he knows, though. Regarding the pictures on Alex's phone sent to Lori, what was the time on the top left corner of the pictures? Do you recall?
I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the transcripts were out, but there was one that was like 2,000 pages. I don't think that one is out. Or was it still uploading to the court's website? Also, I don't remember if there's a lot of sidebars during the Sarah Boone trial, but I'll take a look at it. Thank you so much for bringing that up, though. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I was like trying to check on everyone's cases.
For certain. That was afternoon.
Sorry, what was the question?
Pictures, do you recall? Regarding the pictures on Alex's phone sent to Lori, what was the time on the top left corner of the pictures? Do you recall?
I don't know for certain. That was afternoon.
Would it refresh your memory to look at
Yes.
that photo?
Yes.
What exhibit number is that from?
This is 222.
All right, so that's been admitted into evidence.
Oh, it's been uploaded. 2,529 pages. They're uploaded now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
The time is 2:13.
And the next question is the counter?
Just a lazy gamer did a video reading the sidebars. I'll have to do it maybe next week. I'm going out of town tomorrow. I have to pack like now, and I got to work on this video today. Yeah, probably next week.
Countertop in that picture, do you recognize that as whether or not that's the same countertop at the the Four Peaks address?
That is not the same as the Four Peaks address, no.
Okay. Before I go for follow-up to the parties, are there any other juror questions? I don't see any. Follow-up from the defense based on that juror question?
No more questions, Your Honor.
All right, from the state?
Just that in that exhibit, the photo, of the phone, do we see both sort of Tuesday, 9:08, when these messages occurred, let me pull in, as well as sort of what time
what should you do over the weekend? Yard work. Have fun. Pluck the weeds out.
the phone is showing?
Yeah, and I think the most telling thing is this is a communication between Adam and Charles. Clearly, the only phone that they had would have been Charles' phone, not Adam's.
And this conversation matches what you saw.
Oh, it is Easter weekend. I think that's why my plane tickets were so fucking expensive. We didn't realize it until later. Because I was like, man, why is it so expensive? Is it the one, this is the lady that was a school teacher, and then the trial took place in Murdoch's judge's courtroom. What was her name again? And her daughter, I think, was it her daughter, right? Not her grandchild, because the lady looked old. But the daughter was like special needs, left the car for hours while mom and the boyfriend were shagging it up and then arguing back and forth.
Extracted from Charles's phone later between he and Adam on the 9th of July.
Correct.
No other questions from Your Honor?
All right, you can step down, sir.
God, this 2,500 pages is still loading on my computer.
Your Honor, at this time, the state has no further witnesses. The state will rest.
All right, the state has rested its case, which means the state's portion of the evidence is done. I'm going to excuse the jury for a few minutes before you go home for the evening. Let me just do a consultation with the parties about tomorrow's schedule, and I'll let you know what time to report back. It should just be a couple minutes. So please remember the admonition. We'll let you know what time to report back tomorrow.
All right, for the jury. That they were going to be having an intervention from.
Oh, Lori's going to argue
One.
saying, not enough evidence. I think it's just like a pro forma thing where every time the state presents their case, the defense just says, they're like, oh, there's not enough evidence. Dismiss. Spicy in the sidebars? Oh, I bet. Mr. Owens, kind of spicy. The state, Mr.
I'd
J,
like to address
and the other guy that was prosecuting the case, they're both pretty spicy. Mr. J and Mr. Shoot, what's the other guy's name? The guy that looks like he's like a detective.
Rule 20 motion first.
Go ahead.
Okay. The state has failed to show substantial evidence for count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree premeditated murder. The state has provided no evidence that I agreed with another person that any one of us would engage in certain conduct that I intended to promote or assist in this premeditated murder. Crime
Cacciatore.
premeditated murder requires the state to establish a person caused the death of another with premeditation. The lack of evidence to show any evidence of a conspiracy to commit murder. There was no plan to murder Charles. No evidence has showed that, in fact, evidence suggested self-defense on the part of Alex. So I would like to put that on the record.
Oh, it's
right.
Italian?
State, want to put a response on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Looking at the evidence in the light most favorable to the state, there's sufficient evidence based upon everything from the iCloud messages from between Alex, the defendant, and others leading up to July 11th of 2019, that Alex Cox was invited over by this defendant, knowing that they were going to be having an intervention and knowing when Charles would be there and bringing a handgun over with him. The timelines on July 11th of the killing of Charles Vallow and the fact that the number of shots and the physical evidence at the scene, the statements by the defendant to Detective Enclan that she took Charles Vallow's phone and would not give it back to him, the motive for money, and especially the defendant's motive for having an affair with Chad Daybell, all of those looking at together in the light most favorable to the state, the defendant or the jury could find the defendant guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
Last word. Do you want to add anything?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the standard is
She already read her script. She's an
whether or not a reasonable juror could, whether or not there's substantial evidence for a reasonable juror to find the defendant guilty. The court does find that there is substantial evidence that a reasonable juror could find the defendant guilty. The court will further add that the jurors are the ones who judge the credibility of the witnesses, and it's ordered denying the Rule 20 motion. Are you going to
Womp
present evidence tomorrow, either through witnesses or through your own testimony?
No, Your Honor, the defense will rest.
All right, if that's the case, I'm going to
She has no witnesses. She has no witnesses. And Lori, you can be your own witness. You didn't know that? Witness, Lori, go ahead, go up there, go testify.
tell the jury how long does the state anticipate its closing argument being?
I would assume probably over an hour.
How about the defense?
Less than that.
Can we do the closings at 1 p.m.? We can formalize all the jury instructions at 10:30.
Your Honor,
Is that enough time?
the state would request that we do them Monday to ensure that the state would request we do closings Monday to ensure that we don't finish with a rebuttal closing on Monday.
Well, I'm willing to go in the morning if we want to start in the morning at 11 and do jury instructions at 10:15 or something like that. Does that work?
Again, I'm asking for Monday, but if the court does not allow that, then we'll go whenever the court says tomorrow.
I know. Our poll, 65% of you guys thought Lori Forloins at iClouds.com would testify. 35% of you guys were correct. Said no. No, there are times where the defense, they rest their case because they got to elicit testimony
weigh
when
in?
they cross-examined.
But just that we haven't had time to go over the jury instructions. I don't get back to the jail until like 5:30 or 6 o'clock, so
You agree then that Monday's better?
I would agree.
All right, we'll tell the jury to report at 10:30 a.m. on Monday. They don't have to come in tomorrow.
Judge, could we have the defendant rest in front of the jury before they leave today?
Are you prepared to rest today? If you rest, that means you can't change your mind about testifying.
Can we do it on Monday?
We can do that on Monday, but if you change your mind, I need to know in advance because it's going to change the jury instructions and it's going to change the schedule.
Absolutely, I will let you know.
All right.
Oh, okay. I mean, she has till Monday, so maybe she will still testify. I doubt she is, though. They should be telling her, do not fucking testify unless you want to and just, look like a clown furthermore. But go ahead, Lori, do it.
Tell the jury they don't need to report on tomorrow, that they need to report Monday at 10:30 a.m. Okay? So let's meet tomorrow, though, to finalize the jury instructions. Why don't we just do that at, what's tomorrow, Thursday?
10:30?
We'll just do it at 10:30. That'll be enough time for you to read those tonight.
Yeah, if I could have time to meet with my advisory council before that, that would be great.
I can put it on the
Be
calendar.
brought in.
I can put it on the calendar for 10, and I think I
11?
can put it on the calendar for 10 so you can meet with them back here, and then we'll meet at about 10:45. We'll have come in the courtroom and finalize the jury instructions. All right? If I did give a copy to your advisory councils as well, or at least one copy there. So if the advisory councils and/or the state review that tonight and see something additional or correction that needs to be made, go ahead and give me a heads up so I can be prepared to talk about it tomorrow as well. So, all right, we'll see everyone in court at 10:45, but we'll put it on the calendar for 10 a.m. so that the defendant can meet.
Wow, can you imagine this courtroom? This courtroom now has like 6 weeks of vacation because they thought it was gonna be a 6 weeks long trial. How did they get 6 weeks long trial? I'm so confused. Like, yes, Lori was gonna make everything slower, but the state went through with their direct examination pretty quickly. 6 weeks. The judge has a 5-week vacation now. Oh, she's so cooked.
With her advisory councils at 10 a.m. All right, thank you.
Oh my God, this is so funny. So the state has arrested their case in chief. Lori Vallow says that she wants to rest too. And then they're talking about closing arguments. The state says they will take about 1 hour to do their closing arguments. Lori Vallow says she will take about less than an hour. But then Lori was like, actually, can I change my mind? Can I still have Monday to think about it, whether or not I want to testify? Then the judge was like, okay, well, if you're going to testify, you just have to let me know ahead of time because that's going to change the jury instructions and opening statements. But so far, if the Looney Tune doesn't testify, closing arguments will be on Monday. Tomorrow, they are going to meet without the jury being there for, I don't know, jury instruction or something like that, I think. Okay, well, tomorrow, I'm sure they're going to stream it. I'm not going to be here to stream it tomorrow because I'm going to be out of town. But I for sure will be here on Monday for closing arguments. Or if Lori decides to testify, which I don't think she should, you know. She shouldn't. But I want her to. I want her to. She should just testify. Just let her testify. Oh, man. Yeah, she had no one to testify. And I wonder if the jury thought maybe the children were going to testify or somebody. But the jury must be thinking, huh, I wonder what happened to JJ. Wonder what happened to Tylee. I was wondering if Lori was going to pay Daryl Brooks for his 20 or 30 to Lori. Wait, what? You'd be surprised if she doesn't testify. She did an interview. A 40-minute interview. Maybe we should watch it together. Maybe we'll watch it on Monday. She did like a 40-minute interview before her trial, so... Oh, by the way, you know, if you guys are interested, I'm going to link the romance novel in my Discord if y'all want to read it, okay? Because I know you totally want to read the romance novel about Lori and Chad. I put it in the Discord if you guys want to read it. It's in the True Crime section. Oh boy. All right. So, and then yes, yesterday there were uploads to the court website. The Sarah Boone trial transcripts are up, and so are the sidebar, all the sidebars that happen. Oh my God, this is 2,509 pages. It's so long. Oh gosh. But sidebars are really fun to read because remember, we covered the sidebar for the Det v. Heard trial, and oh my God, fucking Elaine in sidebar. Unhinged. Elaine was a wild one. So I look forward to reading the sidebars in the Sarah Boone trial. Mr. Owens, he's a fiery one, you know, he's a fiery one. And sometimes Mr. Owens is a little bit, you know, he could be a little bit of a ding dong sometimes, but I do like Mr. Owens. All right, y'all. Well, you want it to be animated? Oh, hell no, not the fiery loins. Oh no, my computer's crashing because, or my web page is crashing because the transcript is too much for my computer. Oh man, that's a lot of pages. All right, y'all. So that is it for today. Today was day 7? Day 7 of trial. Oh man, day 7 of trial. We got to listen from Detective Nathan Duncan, who's been with Chandler PD for about 25 years. And we just went through a lot of testimony. We went through a lot of text messages between Lori Vallow and her brother, just being very cringe, talking about zombies and talking about Ned, aka the evil spirit that was inhabiting Charles Vallow's body. And then there were even worse text messages between Lori and Chad and their whole romance stuff and being all flirty and loins being on fire and cheeks to cheeks, loin to loins. I don't even know how to even summarize that. Oh, y'all just need to go back and watch it. Oh boy. And then the jury got to see a picture of Chad for the first time, it seems. And they got to hear about Tammy, who was married to Chad Daybell. Lori Vallow does a cross-examination, and she basically just goes at it with the detective about why he didn't test this. Why didn't you do the luminol testing? Why didn't you do the DNA testing on the bat, on the gun? And he's like, well, the evidence shows that he was shot, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to test for everything. We just look at where the evidence takes us, and based off of that, that's how we figure out what we're going to test. But honestly, I don't think Lori Vallow was really compelling in her cross-examination. She was just a fiery cracker. And then the state decides to rest her case in chief. And then we got to hear from Lori Vallow, and she's like, yeah, the defense rests. Like, that's it. So, you know, Lori did have 3 people that she was trying to subpoena to show up for trial. I'm assuming she just didn't want to show up. None of Lori's witnesses showed up. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. I don't know. And she was doing things last minute too. She was subpoenaing people way too last minute, and then also subpoenaing people that she wasn't intending to be witnesses on in the trial. And she got called out yesterday by the judge. Called out. But y'all, if you guys, what I'm going to do for this week, I'm going to do a recap video of this week's trial. So if you guys didn't have, you know, a million hours to watch the trial this week, I'm going to do a recap video, and then hopefully it'll be out tonight, because I have to finish it before I fly out tomorrow morning. But other than that, I will see you guys on, I guess, Monday for closing arguments, and then we will definitely be working on the Sarah Boone sidebar videos as soon as my computer is able to download 2,529 pages of this shit. So, all right, y'all. I appreciate you guys being here. And again, thank you so much. I did mention today I was wearing my painter shirt. I just hopped on stream, and so I got shit all over my stuff. It's not toothpaste, I swear. I'm not a messy toothbrusher, although I could be. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys have a good one. Take care and enjoy your Easter. It is Easter weekend. I don't know what people do for Easter. But yeah, have fun for Easter. You guys don't do Easter stuff, I don't know, have a good weekend. You know, go outside, get some fresh air. Don't think about Lori. Don't think about this case. Don't think about these crazies or the romance or the loins, although I know it's tempting. You guys want to. But I will say this. Nonchalant enchilada, she cooked, okay? She cooked. All right, guys. Yeah, don't think about the loin fires too much, okay? But if you are bored, like I said, I did post the romance novel in my Discord. It's in the true crime channel. Have fun with it.